Chapter 212. How did you know? Qinya's expression became grave. This woman is not simple. Let me finish speaking first. After pausing for a moment, Donghuang Baiji continued, that day, your mood was definitely not good, am I right? Qinya's expression changed slightly, then nodded her head. After that, he appeared and told you some crooked reasoning, and you followed him up the stairs muddle-headedly. As for what happened after that, I don't think I need to say any more, right? Hearing till here, Qinya's expression changed greatly. She immediately looked towards Yihua, as if she was saying, how did she know everything? Yihua smoked his cigarette and did not reply. His expression did not look good. He wanted to refute, but he was powerless to refute. Because everything that she said was correct, other than that crooked reasoning, it was obviously the correct reasoning. Furthermore, you all did it willingly. When did I force you? Did I place a knife on your neck, or was I going to exterminate your entire family? But no matter how she argued, what she said was true. Seeing that Yihua did not reply, Qinya asked with a sunken face, how did you know? Because I am the same as you, I was also tricked by him to go upstairs. Donghuang Baiji said coldly, but her gaze was fixedly staring at Yihua, this heartless man. Qinya took in a breath of cold air. Her brain was buzzing, and she immediately felt that the world was spinning. After a long time, Qinya mumbled towards Yihua, is what she said true? Yihua took a puff of his cigarette, then nodded his head and said, she is the first woman that I told you about. Qinya found it hard to believe. Back then, Yihua indeed told me that there was another woman before me, but I didn't expect that it was her. But, I am Yihua's legal wife. You only had a one-night stand with my man. Although Qinya thought that way, she still felt uncomfortable in her heart. What exactly do you mean? Qinya questioned Donghuang Baiji. Since she is Yihua's past lover, then I shall just get rid of her. Donghuang Baiji appeared to be much calmer. After all, when she heard that Yihua had a wife, she had already calmed down. Wait, I haven't finished speaking. This was a contest between two intelligent women. Although Qinya didn't possess powerful strength, right now, her imposing manner wasn't any weaker than Donghuang Baiji's. Right now, Qinya was giving off the impression that no one should even think about snatching away my husband. Say it. I want to hear what nonsense you can come up with. Donghuang Baiji said faintly, Qinya, don't be nervous. The reason why I came here today is not because of you. If it was possible, I actually didn't want to come here. Right now, Qinya was even more puzzled. This woman really doesn't play her cards according to the routine, causing me to be unable to make a move. Also, how did she know his name? Alright, back to business. After that night, the two of you didn't contact each other until you found out that you were pregnant. That's when you came to find him. Donghuang Baiji's words caused Qinya to be shocked once again, and her face was filled with disbelief. Donghuang Baiji knows everything? Was he being monitored? In actuality, what I want to know is, how many days did you wait for him before he went downstairs? Donghuang Baiji asked the question that she was most concerned about. Recently, his daughter had gone missing. Other than worrying about his daughter's safety, he was also troubled by this problem. If he didn't get to the bottom of it, he wouldn't be able to die in peace. Qinya didn't understand why Donghuang Baiji would ask this question, but she still said, 3 days. Hearing Qinya's reply, Donghuang Baiji suddenly laughed miserably. 3 days. He only waited for 3 days. Yihua. Why are you so cruel to me, but so doting on her? I, Donghuang Baiji, refuse to accept this. Are you done laughing? Yihua shouted gravely. This woman really needs to be taught a lesson. Look at how she is acting, how improper. Donghuang Baiji didn't pay attention to Yihua and continued, Qinya, do you know how many days I waited for him? Qinya shook her head blankly. They actually still have more to say. I waited for him for half a month. Half a month. And I was even chased out every night. He just sat upstairs, not caring about me at all. Do you know how I felt back then? Did I want to die? Dong Wang Baiji was no longer able to suppress the torment in her heart and roared out. At this moment, she wasn't an empress, and she wasn't a mother either. She was just a woman who was abandoned by a cruel man. Qingye didn't expect such a situation, because she never heard from Yi Hua that this woman came to look for him. And Yi Hua only found out from Wei Chang recently that this woman came to look for him. Back then, his emotions weren't very stable, which was why he didn't meet with her. Dong Wang Baiji could be seen suddenly standing up, pointing at Yi Hua and shouting out, "Yi Hua! Let me ask you, why did you go downstairs 3 days after she was pregnant? You ignored my pregnancy. Why?" Yi Hua didn't expect that this woman would have such a huge grievance. This was something that was unexpected, but as my woman, can't you speak properly with this kind of attitude? Yi Hua's temper was also starting to get a bit out of control. Can you speak properly? Yi Hua said coldly. I can't. Dong Wang Baiji was an empress, and she was worshipped by people every day, thus, her aura was not ordinary. Right now, Qingye was stupefied. She was pregnant just like me? 3 years ago. The child is probably already 3 years old, right? Right now, Qingye completely didn't know what to do. The expressions of the 4 people who were hiding at the side and peeking at the scene were complicated. Little brother Red took a tissue and wiped his snot. So pitiful, too pitiful, it isn't easy to be a single mother. The boss is simply too cruel, not even willing to meet with a pregnant woman. Big brother Green sighed. My little brother was raised by his mother, and he has never even seen what his father looks like. What a pitiful child. Hey, why didn't you tell His Honor about such a thing earlier? Lai Gu pulled onto Wei Chang's sleeve and had a very curious look on his face. Wei Chang said helplessly, back then, His Honor was very unstable during those few days. It's not like you don't know about it. I didn't even have the chance to report it to His Honor, and His Honor chased me away. Now that you mentioned it, His Honor seemed to be unstable during that period of time. I remember now. Wei Chang asked gravely, what did you remember? During those few days, His Honor was watching Calabash Brothers save Grandpa. It seems that after the internet connection was disconnected for half a day, His Honor was unable to control his emotions, and it was very easy for him to get angry. Lai Gu recalled for a while. That day, when I was lying beside His Honor, I even had a dream, and there were a lot of delicious food. Wei Chang held on to his forehead. I didn't expect that because the internet connection was disconnected, causing His Honor to not be able to watch Calabash Brothers save Grandpa, which led to today's disaster. My God! Meanwhile, at the entrance of the staircase, Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were currently eavesdropping on His Honor. Yi Zizi had a worried look on her face, and she hoped that His Honor would be able to tide through this crisis. Qing Yutong was also extremely shocked. As expected, brother-in-law has a woman outside. Then, could Ali be that woman? Aunt Qing, what are you two doing? Dong Huangli had just gone to change into a new set of clothes. The dress was rather hard to wear, so it took a bit of time for her to change. Seeing that Aunt Qing did not have any reaction, Dong Huangli skipped down the stairs. At this moment, only then did Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi react, but it was already too late. Chapter 213. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were already sweating profusely, while Big Brother Green and Little Brother Red had an, as expected, look on their faces. Qing Yutong's body became unstable, and she immediately rolled down the stairs. When she lost her balance, she pulled Yi Zizi along with her, and in the end, the two of them rolled down the stairs with a stupefied look on their faces. So awkward, we were discovered eavesdropping. Should we hide and continue eavesdropping? When Dong Wang Baiji heard this familiar voice, hot tears immediately flowed down from her eyes. Ali, mother, although Dong Huangli was angry at her mother, she still missed her mother after not seeing her for more than 10 days. Dong Huangli could be seen pouncing into her mother's embrace, then said with a childish voice, Mother, Ali misses you. While hugging onto her daughter, Dong Huang Baiji's heart ached. Ali, mother has let you down. Ali doesn't blame mother, don't cry. Dong Wangli shouted out sweetly, then stretched out her little hand to wipe off her mother's tears. Right now, Qinya's face was pale, as if she had lost her soul. Li's mother is actually me. Then, Yi Hua, he is Li's father. No wonder he came back so hurriedly. No wonder he is so protective of Li. So he already knew that Li is my child. Qinya's heart was crushed by Yi Hua's lies, and even breathing became incomparably difficult. The current Yi Hua looks so unfamiliar to me. Just a few hours ago, I even asked him if he lied to me, and he said that he didn't. Then what is he doing now? Yi Hua. I am also a human, I have my own pride, why did you lie to me? Dong Wangli still didn't know what the current situation was. She held on to her mother's hand and said with a smile, "Mother, this is Aunt Qing, she treats Li very well. Also, this is Uncle Yi, he even treated Li to a big meal today. There are also Uncle Green and Uncle Red." Big Brother Green and Little Brother Red, who were hiding at the side, immediately shrunk back. "Little ancestor, this isn't the time to talk about this, can't you see that your daddy is panicking right now? Li, come home with mother." Right now, Dong Wang Baiji didn't want to think about anything else, she just wanted to go home with her daughter and watch her grow up. Dong Wangli seemed to be a bit scared as she said in a low voice, "Mother, Li wants to play with Uncle Yi." "Your Uncle Yi is not a good person, Li, don't be deceived by him." Hearing that her daughter was actually getting so close to Yi Hua, Dong Wang Baiji's arrogance rose once again. This time, Yi Hua exploded. With a slap onto the table, the entire table immediately turned into dust. What is your name?" Yi Hua didn't even know how to start scolding. The child is already so big, and yet, he actually doesn't even know what this woman's name is. Dong Wangli hurriedly said, "Uncle Yi, mother didn't do it on purpose, also, mother's name is Baiji, her surname is the same as Li's." "Li, don't speak," Dong Wang Baiji said gravely. Immediately, little Li shrunk his head. Right now, Yi Hua finally knew the other party's name. Dong Wang Baiji, right. Li is my bloodline. You don't have the qualifications to take her away. Yi Hua's tone was filled with an unquestionable tone, and this caused Qinya, who was silent at the side, to feel even more heartbroken. She didn't expect that the man she found was the same as her father. Dong Wang Baiji was stupefied, and she asked curiously, "Yehua, now you know that you want a child. What did you do back then? Do you even have the qualifications to be Li's father? If I don't have the qualifications, who the hell does?" Yi Hua couldn't help but curse out. His voice was so loud that it caused the entire bar to tremble slightly. This meant that the current Yi Hua had somewhat stabilized. Dong Wangli, who was being carried in Yi Hua's embrace, felt dizzy. "Uncle Yi seems to have become my father." "Mother, didn't you say that father died? Why did he come back to life?" Dong Wangli asked curiously with her eyes opened wide. Thinking about it, Yi Hua became angry. "Dong Wang Baiji, you actually cursed me to die. The moment you abandoned me, to me, you were already dead." Dong Wang Baiji shouted out coldly. "Daddy, hug." Dong Wangli didn't feel sad at all, on the contrary, she seemed to be very happy. To begin with, I liked Uncle Yi a lot, and now that Uncle Yi has become a daddy, he will be able to love me for the rest of my life. However, Dong Wang Baiji felt very uncomfortable when she heard Dong Wang Baiji's words. She said lightly, "Ali, be obedient and listen to mother. Let's leave this place, mother will always accompany Ali, alright?" "No. I want daddy." Upon hearing that she was going to leave her daddy, Dong Wangli became anxious. Although Dong Wang Baiji was hugging onto Dong Wang Li's bosom, Dong Wang Li's hands were stretched towards Yi Hua. The power of bloodline was incomparable. He had raised it for almost 3 years, but it could not even compare to a few days. Dong Wang Baiji was unable to imagine that her daughter would be so disobedient. Then, Dong Wang Li raised her hand and slapped onto Dong Wang Li's butt. Dong Wang Li immediately started crying. Yi Hua was enraged. "My daughter is not someone that you can hit. I can't even bear to beat him up. A surge of righteous energy rushed towards Dong Huang Baiji, causing the latter's expression to change. With a slight movement of her hand, a golden barrier appeared in front of her. However, the daughter that was in Yihua's embrace suddenly disappeared, and Yihua, who was not far away, could be seen hugging onto his daughter. This made Dong Huang Baiji extremely shocked. How could the golden barrier be able to withstand Yihua's aura? Immediately, the golden barrier broke apart and rushed towards Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji was greatly startled. She didn't expect that this man would be so powerful. Bang! But he still couldn't block it. His entire body flew backward, smashing into the bar counter and leaving a dent. Everyone was dumbfounded. His honor actually hit a woman. Furthermore, the woman that he hit is his child's mother. If news of this were to spread out, it would definitely become a scandal. His honor is too awesome, even I don't dare to hit my wife like this. Lai Gu sighed. In the future, I must learn from his honor's move. If someone is disobedient, I will hit them until they are obedient. Big Brother Green said in a low voice, "That's right, all of the men in our village are afraid of their wives. Boss is too awesome, I am waiting for my idol." That's right, Big Brother. I have decided. In the future, I must learn from boss and try to hit my wife as soon as possible. Not bad, you comprehend very quickly. Big Brother Green patted onto his little brother's shoulder. Qin Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were at the side, were also extremely shocked, especially Qin Yutong, who covered her mouth with both of her hands. My God, brother-in-law actually hit his wife, so scary. My God, Big Brother is too inhumane. Yihua looked towards Dong Huang Baiji coldly, then consoled Dong Huang Li, who was in his embrace. Ali, don't cry. Woo-woo, daddy, don't hit mommy. Domestic violence. A solid hammer. Seeing how wrong the little fellow was, Yihua hurriedly coaxed, all right, daddy won't hit mommy. Ali, don't cry, okay. Dong Huang Baiji's expression was gloomy as she slowly walked out of the room. She was completely fine, not even a speck of dust could be seen on her body. In actuality, Yihua was still steady when he hit Dong Huang Baiji. He was only teaching her a lesson. If not, how could he have been able to hit Dong Huang Baiji so easily? Chapter 214. Mama, don't hit Papa, or Ali will have no Papa again. Without waiting for Dong Huang Baiji to act, Dong Huang Li started crying loudly. No matter how Yihua coaxed her, it was useless. Ali is just a jinx. No matter where he goes, he will make others angry. No matter where he goes, he will bring harm to others. Wah! Ali looked up to the sky and cried, as if everyone in the world hated her. Her cries were heartbreaking. Dong Huang Baiji gradually returned to normal. There was nothing more important than having a child. Just when Dong Huang Baiji was about to coax her daughter, Dong Huang Li's petite body immediately emitted out an astonishing bloodline fluctuation, and along with the sound of crying, her bloodline was about to erupt. Yihua was greatly startled. I didn't expect that the bloodline in my daughter's body would go out of control. Yihua immediately suppressed it. If it were to explode, I reckon that the entire Long and city would be leveled to the ground. In the future, I still have to teach Ali how to control the power of my bloodline. Caressing his daughter who was in deep sleep, Yihua lightly wiped away the tears at the corner of his eyes. What did you do to my daughter? Dong Huang Baiji thought that Yihua did something bad to her daughter, and immediately, a sharp sword appeared in her hand. This woman actually dared to use her sword against me. His left hand turned into a palm, and a formless power controlled Dong Huang Baiji in the sky. Soon after, Dong Huang Baiji clenched his fist. Dong Huang Baiji's face was deathly pale as she lightly landed onto the ground. The spiritual energy within her body was actually sealed. How did he do it? Yihua carried on to Ali, who was in deep sleep, and said coldly, seeing that you are Ali's mother, I will let you off this time. But from now on, do your part, or don't blame me for teaching you a lesson again. You bastard. The pale and powerless Dong Huang Baiji stretched out her fist and punched towards Yihua. With a slight dodge, Dong Huang Baiji missed her target and knocked onto the table. Dong Huang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows. So painful. Qinya stood up, did not cry nor did she make a fuss, and walked towards the stairs. Qin Yutong hurriedly followed behind her big sister. Don't let her big sister do anything stupid. Seeing Qinya like this, Yihua had no choice but to say, Wei Chong. Leisure bar will be temporarily closed for this period of time. With a wave of his hand, a blue halo enveloped the entire bar, and it was exactly the same move that he used against Qinya back then. Wei Chong said solemnly, Yes, boss. Looking at her daughter being carried up the stairs by Yihua, Dong Huang Baiji ignored the pain on her body and rushed towards Yihua. You damned bastard, return my daughter to me. Just that, before he could even touch Yihua's body, he crashed into the air wall and fell onto the ground. Yihua turned his head around and said faintly, Dong Huang Baiji. Tonight, you should rest downstairs and reflect on how to be a good mother, how to be a virtuous wife. Look at your attitude and actions tonight. You've made me lose face. Wei Chong and Big Brother Green started taking notes. There's nothing wrong with what His Honor said, it's domineering. This was how a man should be. Big Brother Green had never seen such an awesome man before. He could even teach such a beautiful woman a lesson. As expected of his boss. Yi Zizi looked at Madame Dong Huang Baiji with a smile. Your wonderful life has just begun, Yi Hua. You bastard, return Ali to me. Dong Huang Baiji stood up once again and chased after Yihua. However, Dong Huang Baiji was blocked by an air wall. Although Leisure Bar was under martial law, Yihua intentionally gave Dong Huang Baiji a small cell, and locked her in the lounge of Leisure Bar. While pounding on the invisible wall, Dong Huang Baiji couldn't help but cry. She slowly slid down from the wall and sat on the ground powerlessly. Dong Huang Baiji mumbled, Return Ali to me. Return Ali to me. Wei Chong and Lai Gu sighed. You shouldn't have touched His Honor's angry face. Aren't you just looking for trouble? It's good that you are fine, I will go back first. Lai Gu let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Madame Qinya didn't get angry, if not, it would be even more difficult to clean up the mess. Wei Chong was a bit worried about Madame Qinya's situation. Just now, Madame Qinya did not say anything, but it was precisely because of this that Madame Qinya was not willing to say anything. From this, it could be seen that His Honor had deeply hurt Madame Qinya. However, from His Honor's point of view, there was nothing wrong with what he did. It was all the fault of human nature, and it had to take the blame. Why are you two still standing there? Do you want to get involved in the boss's family affairs? The Green and Red brothers hurriedly shook their heads. How would they dare to do that? Go back with me then. Wei Chong paused for a moment, then took a look at Dong Huang Baiji who was sitting on the ground. Seems like His Honor is planning to do a long-term training job. As a subordinate, it is better for me not to do this kind of thing. After finished speaking, Wei Chong brought the two brothers and left, returning back to the rented house. Tang Wei nearly jumped up from her seat. Opportunities are already few to begin with, and you even brought along 2 light bulbs, and it's even a traffic light. Uncle Wei, do you really want to do that with me or not? I am so angry. On the other side, Yihua carried Dong Huangli and stood outside of the bedroom, thinking about how to deal with Qinya. I reckon that Qinya is currently packing up her clothes. After all, I didn't hear any sounds of things being smashed. Brother-in-law, you are finished. Qin Yutong walked over quietly and said unhappily. How is your big sister? Yihua asked in a low voice. Qin Yutong shook her head. She is very abnormal. I have never seen big sister like this before. Brother-in-law, you take care of yourself. I am going to go and play games. What kind of F***king situation is this, and you are still thinking about playing games? Aren't you going to help me think of a way? Taking a deep breath, Yihua opened the door and entered the bedroom. Yihua immediately froze. The bedroom was very clean, and there was no suitcase to be found either. Only the light in the bathroom was still on. For Qinya to still have the mood to take a bath, it seems like things are going to be settled. Qinya is still the sensible one, she knows how to think from my point of view. Unlike that Dong Huang Baiji who doesn't have any manners at all, she is too lacking. My daughter has already been snatched away, what kind of manners do I still need? If Yi Hua were to see how Dong Huang Baiji looks like when she is wearing the dragon-patterned purple gown, the supreme overlord, like this kind of arrogant woman. Lightly placing his daughter onto the bed, Yi Hua revealed out a smile that a father should have. This little fellow's nose is so cute. Bang! The bathroom door was opened, and Yi Hua turned his head around, then said with a light smile, Qinya, your performance today made me rather surprised. After speaking, Yi Hua wanted to hug onto Qinya. Yi Hua. Qinya slightly dodged away and said lightly. Don't worry, I won't leave. Qinya's tone was very indifferent, and this caused Yi Hua to feel that the situation wasn't good. Yi Hua held onto Qinya's hand and said slowly, of course you won't leave. This time, Qinya didn't dodge away from Yi Hua's hand and said, Yi Hua, do you still remember the promise that we made back then? Yi Hua's hands stopped, then slowly raised his head and looked at Qinya. What do you mean by this? You helped me get rid of the engagement, and I will fulfill my promise. How about this? I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe me anything either. Yi Hua suddenly stood up and shouted out gravely, are you crazy? What do you mean by owe me anything? Could it be that you are still thinking about that bullshit promise right now? I only want you. Chapter 2:15. Yi Hua's chest heaved up and down violently as he let go of Qinya's hand, then said coldly, even if you don't want it, you have to. In the future, I will go to your office to rest. I won't disturb your family reunion. Qinya. Can't you be a little more rational? Qinya turned around with a ferocious expression and shouted in a low voice, I'm very rational right now. If I wasn't rational, I would have already gone mad. Yi Hua remained silent as he watched Qinya pick up the quilt and walk towards the office. Bang! You even used quite a bit of strength to close the door. If you break the door, you won't be able to pay for it in your entire life. These two women. Not a single one of them can make me worry, and each one is more awesome than the other. You brought this upon yourselves. I, the Supreme Overlord, can only act forcefully and lock you up for life. Don't even think about going anywhere. Looking at his daughter who was lying on the bed, Yi Hua stretched out his hand and lightly stroked onto Dong Huang Li's forehead. My daughter is still the most obedient. Bang! 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 Sounds of smashing rang out from downstairs, and Yi Hua's expression became serious. This woman is starting to go crazy too. She pulled out a napkin, crumpled it into a ball, and stuffed it into her daughter's ear so she wouldn't be woken up by her crazy mother. Walking out of the bedroom, Yi Hua lit up a cigarette, then slowly walked downstairs. Dong Huang Baiji could be seen holding onto a chair and smashing it all over the place, causing the entire lounge to be in a complete mess. If Dong Huang Baiji was given a lighter, she would be able to light up this entire bar. While smoking the cigarette, Yi Hua silently looked at Dong Huang Baiji who was randomly smashing the cigarette. After all, I am feeling very uncomfortable in my heart, and I need to vent it out properly. You damned bastard. When Dong Huang Baiji saw that Yi Hua had arrived, she picked up the chair and ran towards Yi Hua, then ruthlessly smashed it towards Yi Hua. Unfortunately, she was blocked by the air wall. Yi Hua knew that she would be blocked by the air wall, and thus, he stood beside the air wall, as if he was visiting a prisoner. It has been a few minutes since I closed the bar, but it seems like your temper did not change at all. Yi Hua said faintly, then walked to the side of the shabby bar counter and poured a cup of wine. Continue, I will watch. While sipping on the wine, Yi Hua said lightly. Dong Huang Baiji placed down the chair that she was holding onto, then asked gravely, just what do you want? I've already said it. I don't want to repeat myself. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out coldly, I can't do it. I don't expect you to be able to do it right now. Take your time, I have plenty of time. Yi Hua said faintly while fiddling with the wine cup in his hand. Dong Wang Baiji was angered to the point that her entire face turned red. Just by looking at his face, Dong Wang Baiji really wanted to scratch his face. Where's my Ali? Don't worry, I'm sleeping upstairs. Dong Wang Baiji let out a breath of relief. As long as the child is fine, everything is fine. Dong Wang Baiji placed the chair properly and sat opposite of Yi Hua. There was an air wall between the two of them, but from the way they sat, it seemed as if they were discussing a deal. What do you want in order to let me and my child go? Dong Wang Baiji asked gravely. Yi Hua didn't answer this question. Instead, he asked, why did Ali come out alone? Dong Wang Baiji remained silent. I'm asking you a question. Yi Hua slammed onto the table and shouted. Dong Wang Baiji pouted her mouth. What does it have to do with you? Yi Hua was angered to the point of laughing. I have never seen such an irresponsible woman before. What kind of mother are you? If anything were to happen to Ali outside, would have whipped you to death. If it wasn't for the Green and Red brothers, you wouldn't even know that Ali was sold. Yi Hua began teaching his daughter. I have no choice but to teach her. Look at that, I'm the #1 in the world, look. Dong Wang Baiji originally wanted to retort back, but when she heard that her daughter was sold, she hurriedly asked, what happened? What happened to Ali? Everything is fine now, I have already dealt with it. However, have you ever thought about the consequences? It's fine for you to bear grudges against me, but how can you vent it on your child? Have you ever been a good mother for a day? Facing Yi Hua's accusation, Dong Wang Baiji was unable to refute. Because what Yi Hua said was right, I indeed didn't act as a good mother, and I even transferred my resentment onto my child. Have you ever been a good father for a day? At the very least, I did it today. Yi Hua said faintly. Have you ever been a good man? Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette and asked silently, are you still blaming me for not coming down to see you back then? Dong Wang Baiji could be seen snorting. Back then, you said that I, Yi Hua, would never touch the same woman for a second time. You are a liar. Alright, this is not bad, I got slapped in the face. Seeing that Yi Hua remained silent, Dong Wang Baiji shouted out coldly, why aren't you speaking? Weren't you very talkative just now? Didn't you have a good time scolding me? I, Yi Hua, will lie to whoever I want to lie to, and I can even take back what I said earlier. I have long wanted to take back what I said earlier, just that I didn't have the chance to do so. You. I have never seen someone as shameless as you, to actually be able to take back what you said. Dong Wang Baiji was angered to the point where she started laughing. Yi Hua said coldly, I'm shameless? Then why did you come and look for me? Isn't it because you can't forget about me? What is there to be embarrassed about? After all, I am indeed outstanding, and I can understand why you have such thoughts. After hearing what Yi Hua said, Dong Wang Baiji was stupefied. Soon after, she picked up a chair and smashed it onto Yi Hua. Go and die. Who cares about you? I am here to look for my daughter, you shameless bastard. Yi Hua lit up another stick of cigarette, then asked faintly, do you still remember what you called me on that night 3 years ago? Dong Wang Baiji went into a daze. That night, Yi Hua. I am going to kill you, you bastard. After finished speaking, she became even more ferocious. Standing up, Yi Hua smoked his cigarette and walked towards the second floor. Slowly smash me. When you have thought it through, I will let you go. You can go and die. Hearing Dong Wang Baiji's various curses, Yi Hua felt that the path of disciplining Dong Wang Baiji was still rather long. Arriving in front of the office, Yi Hua tried the door lock, and as expected, the door was locked from the inside. Chinya, you are underestimating me too much. Bang. Yi Hua pushed open the door and entered the office. Chinya could be seen curled up on the sofa, and her delicate shoulders were slightly shaking. Chinya was crying. Seeing Chinya like this, Yi Hua felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Just yesterday, she was still acting coquettishly in my embrace, and yet today, walking to the side of the sofa, Yi Hua said faintly, Chinya, I know that you are sad, but I have my own difficulties as well. Chinya did not say anything, and her back was facing Yi Hua. Alright, don't be angry, let's go back and sleep. Aren't you unable to sleep if you don't hug something? Yihua poked onto Qinya's shoulder probingly. Qinya could be heard sobbing, Yihua, I only have one request. Yihua felt very comfortable hearing Qinya's words. Yihua hurriedly said, don't say one, I will even agree to 100 requests. After the child is born, let me see him once a month, can you promise me that? Qinya still did not turn her head around, seemingly like she did not want to see Yihua, and her tone became even more weak. Yihua became silent, then slowly stood up and asked, Qinya, just what is wrong with you? Ali is my child, that Donghuang Baiji can only be my woman. Chapter 216. I, the Supreme Overlord, have already lowered my status to persuade you. Look at those men from the big families, Shao Yi, Tang Wushuang. All of them have many wives and concubines. I only have 2. Yihua was immediately unconvinced. Why is it that other people can have so many of them, and yet, I, the Supreme Overlord, only have 2 of them, and yet, I end up like this? Qinya snorted coldly, only 2? It seems like you still want to expand your harem. Bullshit. When did I say such a thing? If it wasn't for Ali, you would be the only woman in my life. Qinya still didn't turn her head around. Yihua, I don't believe in your nonsense anymore. It's getting late, I want to rest, you can go out first. Yihua was very angry. I didn't expect that Qinya would be like this as well. Alright, this is all because of you too. Fine, but let me tell you this, Qinya, don't ever think about leaving me for the rest of your life. After finished speaking, Yihua opened the door and left. Yihua. You are a bastard. Liar. Qinya's curses could be heard coming from inside the house, and there were also various kinds of smashing sounds coming from downstairs. Yihua let out a deep sigh. Should I go and look for that Shao Yi and ask him for advice on how to make sure that all of my wives are safe and sound? After thinking about it, Yihua decided to forget about it. I, the Supreme Overlord, am such an outstanding man, yet I still have to go and seek help from others. If this matter were to spread out, where would my face be? Right now, I can only take things one step at a time. Arriving at Qin Yutong's room, Yihua opened the door and took a look. The back view of an adult and a child was engaged in a heated battle. The sister-in-law was fine too. She wanted to play games instead of the elder sister. Brother-in-law, do you want to play around? Qin Yutong turned her head around and shouted. Yihua, who was in a bad mood, walked into the door and turned on a machine. Qin Yutong laughed, brother-in-law, my big sister isn't easy to deal with, right? Sigh, this time, not only did she ask for a divorce, even the children had been decided by her. Yihua said faintly. Yi Zizi smiled and said, eldest Biaoga, eldest cousin-in-law is just jealous. Just coax her a little and she will be fine. Zizi, you're right. My sister is just jealous. The more you coax her, the more pleased she will be. Qin Yutong began the path of selling out her sister. Oh. Yutong, tell me about it. If it works, this brother-in-law will reward you. Hearing that there was a reward, Qin Yutong immediately became excited. Brother-in-law, just do this. Ignore my sister for the next few days. Once you've aroused her interest, find an opportunity to spank her. I guarantee it will work. Qin Yutong wanted to drag her big sister into the pit as well. I have been beaten up by Yihua quite a few times, and I also want my big sister to be beaten up. Zizi also thinks so. Big cousin, believe us, we are women. Yihua nodded his head, let's start a game first. Although he was playing a game, Yihua was still thinking about it. I'll try out my sister-in-law's method first. Perhaps it will really work. After playing for a while, Yihua returned to the bedroom and looked at his daughter who was sleeping soundly on the bed. Only Ali is my little cotton-padded jacket, and the others are all troublesome. After taking a shower, he held his daughter in his arms. Ali, who was sleeping, also hugged her father tightly, and the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile. She even stuck out her little tongue and licked the corner of her mouth, as if she had eaten something good. It would be perfect if Qingye was by Dong Huang Baiji's side. As for Dong Huang Baiji, if she was able to learn even half of what Qingye was capable of, there would still be a spot for her on this bed. Otherwise, it would be impossible for me to let you get on my bed. Even if you beg me, it would be useless. Early morning. A ray of sunlight passed through the window and shone into the bedroom. Daddy, daddy, time to wake up. Hearing his daughter's call, a trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. Why doesn't Ali sleep for a while longer? Ali always wakes up very early because she needs to study. Daddy, don't you need to study? Yihua smiled. Daddy will teach Ali cultivation techniques in the future. Yay, Ali likes Daddy the most. After finished speaking, Ali kissed onto Yihua's cheek, causing Yihua to laugh out loud. This is the feeling of having a bloodline, causing me to feel so happy. Let's go, Daddy will bring Ali to eat Chinese jianbing. Yihua carried his daughter and got off the bed. Dong Wangli was confused. Daddy, what is Chinese jianbing? Ali will know when she sees it later on. However, right now, she needs to brush her teeth and wash her face first. Li knows how to brush her teeth and wash her face. Daddy, I will help you squeeze some toothpaste. At this moment, Yihua's heart was about to be turned upside down by little Ali. After the father and daughter pair finished washing up, they put on their clothes and walked out of the room. Daddy, I forgot to ask you, where did Mommy go? Dong Wangli was a bit embarrassed. After having a daddy, she nearly forgot about her mommy. Yihua said faintly, your mommy isn't willing to sleep with us, so she went downstairs to sleep. How can Mommy be like this? Mommy should be sleeping with Daddy. My daughter is still the most sensible. When they walked downstairs, Yihua and Dong Wangli looked at the living room stupidly. Not a single chair in the living room was in good condition, and all of the paintings on the wall were torn and fell onto the ground. If Wei Chang were to see this scene, he would definitely go crazy. After all, those paintings were paintings that Wei Chang had collected for 5 years. Dong Huang Baiji could be seen lying on the ground and sleeping. Dong Wangli ran over and pushed her mother. Mommy, wake up. Dong Huang Baiji, who was in a daze, opened her eyes and looked at her daughter who was in front of her. Dong Huang Baiji immediately hugged her daughter tightly into her embrace. Ali, Mommy, why are you sleeping here? Why aren't you sleeping with Daddy? Dong Wangli asked curiously. Dong Huang Baiji looked at her daughter and said tenderly, because Mommy doesn't like Daddy, so we can't sleep together. If the two of you don't sleep together, how did Ali come to be? There was nothing wrong with what Dong Huang Baiji said. Even Yihua was amused by what Dong Huang Baiji said. Ali, you have to call me mother, you can't call me mommy. No, Ali has to call me mommy. Mommy sounds nice, Dong Wangli said coquettishly, causing Dong Huang Baiji to be helpless. Yihua felt that it was about time and shouted out lightly, Ali, Daddy will bring you to eat breakfast. Dong Wangli could be seen running into Yihua's embrace, causing Dong Huang Baiji to be stupefied. Even my daughter has defected to the enemy. Mommy, let's go and eat breakfast together. Dong Wangli shouted towards her mother. Dong Huang Baiji didn't reply, because she knew that Yihua wouldn't let her off. Let's go together then. Yihua said faintly. After finished speaking, Yihua brought Ali and walked out of the house. Dong Huang Baiji touched the air wall, and found that the air wall was gone. Later on, I will carry my daughter and run. However, how many steps can I run? I will still be caught by Yihua. Letting out a sigh, Dong Huang Baiji followed after Yihua. At this moment, inside the office on the second floor, Qingye didn't sleep at all. Qingye was currently standing by the window and looking at the blue sky. Suddenly, she saw 3 figures appearing in the alleyway, and hot tears immediately flowed out of her eyes. This liar, big liar. I will never forgive him in this life. Yihua naturally knew that Qingye was looking at them from above. This was also what Qingye's sister-in-law said. If not, why did he call Dong Huang Baiji out? To act cool? Chapter 217. Today, the auntie's business was very good. There was even a long queue of more than 10 people. When these 10+ people saw that Yi Hua was carrying a child, and there was even a woman that was as cold as ice following behind him, their eyeballs almost popped out. Empress's demeanor was promising. Dong Huangli seemed to be very shy when facing everyone's gaze, and she buried her head into Yi Hua's embrace. Such an action caused everyone to reveal out a smile. Dong Huangli is truly an adorable child. While hugging onto his daughter, Yi Hua stood at the end of the line and waited patiently. Dong Huang Baiji wrinkled her brows. As an empress, when had she ever queued up before, and everyone had to make way for her? Dong Huang Baiji could be seen walking straight towards the front of the group. However, before she even took a single step, Yi Hua said gravely, "What are you doing?" Dong Huang Baiji turned her head around and took a glance at Yi Hua, seemingly as if she was asking, "Do you still need to queue up for such a thing? Come back." Yi Hua said faintly. This woman really doesn't have any quality at all, and she actually dares to cut the queue. If word of this were to spread out, I, the Supreme Overlord, would be losing face. In actuality, Yi Hua had also tried to cut the queue at the start. As a Supreme Overlord, how could he possibly line up with a bunch of humans? In the end, this auntie didn't give him any face and refused to do it. She had a bad temper. If it wasn't for the fragrance of your fruit pancake, I would have flipped the stall. Dong Huangli secretly shouted out, "Mommy, quickly come back, don't cut the queue." Dong Huang Baiji felt as if she had just received 100,000 damage. Not only was she taught a lesson by Yi Hua, her skills were inferior to Yi Hua's, and now, even her daughter has started to betray Dong Huang Baiji. Most of the people in the queue were boys, and they were rushing to work. But when they saw such a beauty, not to mention cutting the queue, they would do anything. "Beauty, I know you're in a hurry. I'll give my seat to you." Yes, it's not easy. These men, they can't move their eyes away when they see a beauty. Some girls despise this kind of man. If an ugly girl tried it, it would definitely not be like this. Even Dong Huangli felt embarrassed. "Mommy, quickly come back. We need to follow the order." Look, even Ali knows about this. What are you standing there foolishly for? Come over. Yi Hua shook his head. Even Qinya wouldn't do such a thing. Dong Huang Baiji's face was red from anger, and in an instant, her beauty was peerless. Even so, she didn't look embarrassed at all. She turned around like an empress with an extraordinary demeanor. Seeing how Dong Huang Baiji was able to act to such an extent, Yi Hua could be said to be convinced. "Look at how you behaved just now, how improper." Yi Hua began to teach Ling Lan. He had to start from the most basic aspect of being a person. Of course, Dong Huangli was going to speak up for her mommy. "Daddy, don't blame mommy. Mommy has always been living alone, and furthermore, she didn't go out at all. It's hard for her to not be sensible." Dong Huang Baiji, Yi Hua caressed onto his daughter's face. "Even Ali is more sensible than mommy, so obedient." Dong Huang Baiji almost couldn't hold herself back anymore. This pair of father and daughter are teaming up to bully me. Don't you think I'm angry? If it wasn't for the fact that they were outside, he would have definitely scolded them. Endure it. Maintain the aura of an empress. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, it was finally Yi Hua's turn. The auntie had already seen Yi Hua long ago, and she was just curious as to why there was a little girl and another beautiful woman with him today. Just that, this beautiful woman looked very familiar. 6 fruit jianbing, one of them with eggs and sausages. Yi Hua said faintly while carrying his daughter. "Daddy, Ali also wants eggs and sausages." Right now, Dong Huangli wanted whatever her daddy wanted, and she wanted it as well. Yi Hua smiled faintly. "Is Ali able to eat all of them?" Dong Huangli rubbed onto her stomach, and Ali's stomach is able to contain all of them. "Two it is then," Yi Hua said to the auntie. The auntie that made the pancakes cried out in surprise. "I remember now. 3 years ago, you were standing here every morning." Dong Huang Baiji wrinkled her brows and didn't reply. Yi Hua and Dong Huangli immediately looked towards Dong Huang Baiji. Mommy, were you peeping at Daddy? Dong Huangli asked naively. A small knife stabbed onto Dong Huang Baiji's chest. At the very least, you have been standing here for more than 10 days. The auntie added. Dong Huangli had a surprised look on her face. Wow, so Mommy secretly likes Daddy. Another small knife stabbed onto Dong Huang Baiji's chest. Right now, Dong Huang Baiji didn't feel good at all. Back then, I was standing here because I was angry. I wasn't secretly in love. Yihua rubbed onto the child and said faintly, Ollie, it is normal for Mommy to have this kind of reaction. After all, Daddy is indeed very attractive. And, Daddy is the most handsome, Mommy is even mesmerized by him. Stab Dong Huang Baiji's heart was stabbed by an invisible knife. Young man, is this your daughter? The auntie asked curiously. Without waiting for Yihua to speak, Dong Huangli said with a smile, Hello Grandma, my name is Dong Huangli. He is my daddy, and she is my mommy. Young man, being fickle isn't a good thing. The auntie started preaching again. Yihua was only able to continue listening to the auntie's preaching. Of course, Yihua would refute the auntie's preaching, for example, right now, fickle? That doesn't exist, this is my new wife, the other one is currently sleeping at home. If this isn't fickle, then what is it? Who is your new wife? Pay attention to your words. Dong Huang Baiji finally couldn't bear it anymore and spoke out to refute. Dong Huangli clapped her hands and said with a smile, Is Mommy going to be a bride? Ali is so happy. Ali, don't speak. Dong Huang Baiji stopped Ali. Dong Huangli pouted her mouth, then replied with an oh, then buried her head into her daddy's bosom pitifully. The auntie sighed, You youngsters, don't let the child bear the responsibility for the mistake. After all, the child is innocent. What the auntie said was reasonable. Yihua and Dong Huang Baiji didn't refute. Little Ali smiled towards the auntie, then hid back into her bosom. After waiting for quite a while, Yihua walked back with the piping hot Chinese jianbing, while Ali began eating it. Take it. Yihua extended the bag in front of Dong Huang Baiji. I'm not taking it. As my woman, don't you even understand this bit of rules? Yihua said gravely. This is too unruly. Sorry, I'm not your woman. Dong Huangli asked curiously, If Mommy isn't Daddy's woman, then whose woman is Mommy? Ali, don't speak. Yihua was a lot calmer now, then said faintly, Dong Huang Baiji, you better listen to me as soon as possible. Dong Huangli, who was in Yihua's bosom, nodded her head and didn't speak. Wishful thinking. Yihua didn't pay attention to Ali. After returning to Leisure Bar, he once again locked Dong Huang Baiji up, then took the breakfast and went upstairs. 2 of the breakfast were given to Dong Huang Baiji, who was playing games, and the 2 of them still haven't woken up yet. Standing at the entrance of the office, Yihua opened the door and entered the office. Qinya could be seen curling up on the sofa just like how she did last night, looking very pitiful. Yihua's heart ached when he saw that. It's time to wake up and eat breakfast. Yihua shouted lightly. Qinya's voice was still choking with emotions. I don't have any appetite, you can leave. If she were to admit defeat right away, it would be meaningless. Immediately, a symphony started ringing out in the hall. However, Dong Huang Baiji did not make a single sound and endured it. After a short while, Yihua gave up on this move, as it was useless against her. That's all for today. If you dare to offend your superiors again, I won't let you off lightly. Yihua. I hate you. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out coldly with red eyes. Back then, you were the one who was heartless, and now, you want to do this to me? Do you think that I, Dong Huang Baiji, am the kind of woman who comes and goes as you please? Looking at Yihua walking up the stairs, Dong Huang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows and touched her butt. So painful. Dong Huangli, who was walking up the stairs with a Chinese jianbing, stealthily opened the door and saw that Aunt Qing was lying on the sofa. Dong Huangli felt very sad in her heart. It's all my fault. If not, Daddy wouldn't have fallen out with Aunt Qing. Get out. Qingye shouted out coldly. Aunt Qing, it's me, Ali. Dong Huangli was startled by Qingye and said with grievance. Qingye went into a daze, then turned her head around and looked towards the door. As expected, it was only little Ali. Qingye said embarrassedly. Ali, Aunt Qing didn't shout at you on purpose just now. Towards Dong Huangli, Qingye did not feel any resentment towards her. After all, children are innocent. Furthermore, I like Ali, she is a very sensible little girl. Aunt Qing, I'm sorry, it was Ali's appearance that made you and Daddy angry. The clever Dong Huangli began laying the groundwork. That pitiful expression on her face made it seem as if she had to take responsibility for everything that was wrong. Qingye tenderly hugged onto Dong Huangli, then said faintly, Ali, this is not your fault, all of the faults are your daddy's fault. Dong Huangli stretched out her small hand and wiped away the tears that were at the corner of Qingye's eyes. Aunt Qing, Ali still wants to apologize to you. Silly child, you did not do anything wrong, it is Aunt's own fault. Qingye squeezed out a trace of a smile. Dong Huangli pursed her small mouth. Aunt Qing, Daddy punished Mommy to sleep in the living room last night. In actuality, Dong Huangli understood that one shouldn't think that children are easy to be deceived. Hearing that, Qingye went into a daze for a moment. I thought that Daddy and Daddy would sleep together, but I didn't expect that they didn't. Yesterday, Daddy and Ali slept together, and Daddy was even calling out Aunt Qing's name in his dreams. If Yi Hua were to hear what his daughter said, he would definitely shout out 666. As expected of my biological daughter, she knows how to help Daddy. Qingye didn't say anything, but it was clear that her expression was getting a bit better, and her beautiful face became more relaxed. Aunt Qing, quickly eat some, if not you will get hungry. It was irrational to rob the Bai clan. After all, Bai Ci was very eccentric. There was also Wang Debao, the king of luck. Xiao Yi slowly closed his eyes and said, it seems like they plan to wash my Xiao family in blood. Big brother Xiao, the Xianyuan sword is a hot potato now. As long as you don't have the Xianyuan sword, they won't do anything to you. After all, their target is the ancient godly item, not Big brother Xiao. Xiao Yi opened his eyes, revealing a deathly aura. Wushuang, what do you think Big brother should do? That was what he wanted to hear. Tang Wushuang's body slightly leaned forward, and it could be seen just how much he longed for it right now. This minute movement was seen by Xiao Yi very clearly. Big brother Xiao, now all the small clans and rich merchants have announced that they are staying away from you. The situation is very bad. If you trust Wushuang, you can give the Xianyuan sword to Wushuang for safekeeping. Wushuang will definitely protect you. In actuality, Tang Wushuang had thought of many kinds of methods. Not only would he be able to obtain the Xianyuan sword, but he would also be able to not destroy the friendship between them. This was the only method he could try. However, when the time came, he would definitely be lectured by his master. If it was 10 days ago, Xiao Yi might have handed over Xianyuan's sword without holding anything back, but now, that was impossible. He could even see the intention of this brotherly man. The Xianyuan sword was an ancient godly item, there was no need to talk about its might. For it to be able to contend against the Death Mage's Scythe of Death, it was even able to leave a dent in the Scythe of Death. From this, it could be seen just how powerful the Xianyuan sword was. Who wouldn't want to possess such an ancient godly item? If the aristocratic families didn't set a limit on the number of ancient godly items that they could possess, they would have come to snatch it long ago. Among all swords, the Xianyuan sword was the king. It was an ancient godly item that even aristocratic families wanted to possess. Tang Wushuang's words were indeed pleasant to hear. He said that he would temporarily keep it for safekeeping. Most probably, once he went there would be no possibility of him taking it back. Xiao Yi sighed and said, Wushuang, back then when I snatched this Xianyuan sword, it was fortunate that you were there to help me restrain the enemy. Hearing what Xiao Yi said, Tang Wushuang was delighted in his heart. But the Xianyuan sword is the symbol of our Xiao family. The Xiao clan is no longer the Xiao clan. Wushuang, you should understand what I mean. Xiao Yi didn't want to point it out. He only wanted Tang Wushuang to give up on the thought of snatching the Xinyuan sword. If that's the case, then we can still continue being brothers. However, Tang Wushuang didn't think so. Although the black robe was powerful, his teacher had also said that he would be able to defeat the black robe. Therefore, there was nothing for him to worry about. However, there were a lot of things that Tang Wushuang didn't know. You know nothing of your enemy. However, he had no idea who the real enemy was. Xinyuan sword? This was just bait. 9 demons punishing tower? In Yihua's eyes, Wang Debao was just a black iron. The reason why Yihua threw Wang Debao to Wang Debao was because Wang Debao was a trustworthy person, and his main purpose was to frame Yihua. However, Wang Debao happily ran back to Yihua and fawned upon Yihua. All of this was under Yihua's control. If there wasn't a family dispute, I would definitely want to admire this process right now. After all, he was the one who directed it. How could he not appreciate his work? Xiao Yi on the main seat was silent. 3 from the south. There were 2 of them. And this was only on the surface. Who knew how many of them were hiding in the dark? It seemed like a bloody battle was going to happen today. At this moment, 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky, flying rapidly towards the Shao clan mansion. Swish swish swish. The 3 of them were precisely Sun Yi, Hai Daisy, and Guang Tianlu, who rushed over from the south. The 3 of them were fearless. After all, the higher-ups had given the order, other than the owner of the ancient godly item, no one is allowed to harm the 3 of them. Although it was the promise made by the aristocratic families in the north, who knows if the aristocratic families would make a move on the 3 of them. Therefore, the aristocratic families in the south didn't dare to rashly make a decision. However, some people liked to take risks. After the 3 of them landed, they cupped their hands towards Xiao Yi. Xiao family head, I trust that you have been well since we last met. Xiao Yi smiled lightly. Those who came are guests. Shu Nan, serve tea. The 3 of them pondered for a while and sat down to observe the situation. However, they didn't drink the tea. Who knows if the tea was drugged or not? Hai Daisy didn't want to be long-winded and went straight to the point. Xiao family head, I'm afraid that you already know the reason why we came here. Hand over Xinyuan's sword, and we can avoid a battle. What you all said is right, handing over Xinyuan's sword is indeed my choice, but I still want to take a gamble. Xiao Yi waved his hand and gestured to Shu Nan and Yu Qi to leave. However, they seemed to be very worried. Sun Yi snorted coldly, then said while looking at Xiao Yi, who was being injected with water, since Xiao family head insists on doing this, then don't blame us. Xiao Yi pulled out the needle and slowly stood up. Everyone was a big shot, and Xiao Yi's current state was very weak. One finger could poke him to death. It's not convenient to fight here. Everyone, follow me, Xiao Yi said indifferently and slowly flew out of Xiao family mansion. Everyone followed behind him and didn't make things difficult for him. After all, they were here to steal ancient god items, not to exterminate a family. Xiao Yi brought everyone to an open space. It was as if it had been baptized by an atomic bomb. It was clearly a forest, but there was not a single blade of grass growing within a few miles. This is the place where I fought against the black robe that night. Xiao Yi's words caused everyone to gasp. Hearing about it was just hearing about it, but seeing it in person was another feeling. It wasn't that the people here couldn't do it, but it was very difficult unless it was a life and death situation. It seemed that Xiao Yi was in a life and death situation that night, which also showed the power of Xinyuan's sword. Actually, the real battle wasn't the destruction of the scene, but the snap of a finger. All kinds of difficult and complicated diseases could be cured. The 3 of them were glad that Xiao Yi was in a sick state, or else it would have been a little troublesome. Xiao Yi clenched his fist and the golden Xinyuan sword appeared in his hand, emitting a dense aura. Seeing Xiao Yi take out the Xinyuan sword, the breathing of the 3 quickened. Compared to the 9 demons punishing pagoda, the Xinyuan sword was much more attractive. Tang Wushuang took a deep breath, then silently walked to the side, expressing his attitude. Xiao Yi took a look. He wasn't disappointed, but he felt pained. Ling Tian hesitated with a heavy expression, as though he was struggling with the devil in his heart. Ling Tian, I, Xiao Yi, don't regret being friends with you. It's time to make a choice. Xiao Yi used the Shenyuan sword to support his body. However, at this moment, Sun Yi's slender hand trembled, and a sharp sword appeared in her hand. With a fierce sword chi, she attacked Xiao Yi with a speed that would leave people speechless. Anyone who could become the Grandmaster of the Cloud sect was no pushover. Xiao Yi's face sank. The wind from the sword energy caused Xiao Yi's clothes to flutter and his face to hurt. He gripped the Shenyuan sword tightly in his hand. Good timing. I, Xiao Yi, have been holding back my anger for far too long. The pain of losing my wife, the pain of begging others, every second is torturing me. This emperor has commanded the winds and clouds for 1,000 years, but I never thought that I would fall after my rebirth. Since that's the case, I shall let all of you experience the pain of angering an immortal emperor. However, just when Xiao Yi was about to move his sword, a large hand suddenly grabbed the sword. Ling Tian's weapons were all parts of his body. Xiao Yi looked at Ling Tian who was at the side, and Ling Tian looked at Xiao Yi with a smile. Chapter 221. In the face of imminent peril, Ling Tian did not find his conscience. Instead, he discovered that Xiao Yi was pretending. No wonder he was the act tough king. He was the one who taught him how to act tough in the past. Who would have thought that he would use this trick of pretending to be sick today? Amazing. He accepted this act of acting tough. With a shout, Sun Yi pulled out her sharp sword, causing sparks to fly in Ling Tian's palm. Brother Xiao. Today, we will fight with our backs against the wall. I do not wish to be born on the same day, but I wish to die on the same day. Ling Tian roared and a powerful aura spread out in all directions. Those who didn't know better would think that the two of them were gay friends. Ling Tian then patted Xiao Yi's shoulder. Don't worry, with me around, no one will dare to touch a single hair on Brother Zhao's head. He thought to himself, Brother Xiao will most probably be touched to death. That Tang Wushuang really doesn't have good eyesight. Brother Xiao is the act tough king, how could he let go of such a pretentious scene? Good brother. I'm going to take a break. Xiao Yi said in a deep voice, using the Shenyuan sword as a crutch. Brother Xiao, I'm not joking. Don't scare me. I've already boasted about it. Otherwise, I'll be slapping my face. Hi Dicey. Go and stall Ling Tian. Guang Tian rode. You and I will launch a pincer attack on Xiao Yi. Sun Yi shouted. Guang Tianle frowned, and 3 cards instantly appeared on her slender fingers, radiating with a red glow. Ice Bone Dragon. As the 3 cards were thrown out, 3 ice bone dragons were instantly condensed. This kind of bone dragon was not ordinary. Its skeleton seemed to be made of ice and had sharp ice thorns. Roar. The 3 huge ice bone dragons faced the sky and roared. The bursts of dragon roars made people exclaim in admiration. Guang Tianlu threw out another 3 cards and imprinted them on the 3 ice skeletal dragons. Golden light flashed, and when the ice bone dragon reappeared, its skeleton was actually wearing a set of golden armor, looking very majestic. Coupled with its huge body, it was even more frightening. As expected of the Southern Guang family's patriarch. Crafty card player 6. Sun Yi was not to be outdone. Although the Cloud sect was known for their sword arts, the secret scripture that the Cloud sect had was not sword arts, but rather, Thousand Mountains Sovereign Guide. Chasing after Sun Yi let out a delicate shout, and a huge amount of spiritual energy gushed out from her body, covering the entire ground. Boom! With a muffled sound, a huge crack appeared on the ground, and a giant claw emerged from the ground. It was followed by another giant claw, then the head, and then the entire body. The aura he emitted made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. An ancient divine beast. Ling Tian let out a cry of surprise. This lady actually summoned an ancient divine beast. How was this possible? Not only was Ling Tian dumbfounded, apart from Sun Yi herself, everyone else was dumbfounded. To actually summon an ancient mythological beast, this should be the foundation of the Cloud sect. This woman was really willing to part with it. If the sect was not in a life and death situation, they would definitely not reveal their trump cards. Who would have thought that for the sake of an ancient godly item, they would even bring out an ancient divine beast? What a waste. Xiao Yi looked at the ancient divine beast in front of him with a solemn expression. This beast looked a bit like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but the difference was that it had 2 heads and 4 limbs. Its 4 eyes were even more frightening, they even contained a hint of confusion. The black scales on its body wriggled slowly, looking extremely disgusting. As expected of an ancient divine beast. Thousand Mountains Sovereign Guide. However, Xiao Yi had never seen Ing family's heavy dust before. Compared to heavy dust, this ancient divine beast was much skinnier, just like a newborn baby. For the 3 big shots to be able to hold their positions, they naturally had their own trump cards. However, Ing family's trump cards were all suppressed by Yi Hua's absolute strength. Big brother Xiao, quickly leave, I will take care of things here. Ling Tian's current appearance was just like a child who was asking for a red packet during Chinese New Year. At this moment, Xiao Yi's entire aura was ignited, and a powerful spiritual energy swept out like raging waves. Rumbling sounds rang out between heaven and earth. Immediately, dark clouds covered the sky, and thunder rumbled. Right now, Xianyuan's sword seemed to have sensed its master's anger, and a powerful sword qi burst out from it. The sword qi actually fused together with Xiao Yi's spiritual energy, and the huge amount of energy that was produced actually caused cracks to appear on the ice-bone dragon's armor. Tang Wushuang's face turned black. I didn't expect that brother Xiao was pretending to be sick. He is actually fine, and his strength seems to be even more ferocious than before. Ling Tian, you step back, I will be fine alone. The current Xiao Yi seemed to have returned to the past, the time when he was in control of life and death. Ling Tian was overjoyed. Big brother Xiao is indeed starting to act cool, as expected of the act-tough King Xiao. Hi Dicey, what are you still looking at? Sun Yi shouted. The current Xiao Yi seems to be much stronger than I imagined. But even at his peak, he didn't have this kind of strength. Of course, this was all thanks to Wei Chang's black fog. Not only did it save Xiao Yi's life, it also increased his strength. The current Xiao Yi should be able to play with Death Assassin. He still won't be able to face Death Mage, unless Death Mage goes for close combat again. As a big shot of the Southern Alliance, Hai Dicey definitely has the ability. Now that everyone has used their trump cards, I will also widen everyone's horizons. Hai Dicey can be seen drawing a spiritual formation in the air with his finger, then he slapped it down and shouted, everyone's invisibility technique. By other than Xiao Yi and the other 2, all the humans and beasts disappeared. Xiao Yi's face sunk. This is not a simple invisibility technique, even their aura is hidden. The 3 big shots joining hands indeed gave Xiao Yi a headache. Xiao Yi summoned the black tortoise armor and said to Ling Tian who was beside him, I will remember today's favor, I will definitely repay you in the future. No need to be so polite, we are all family. Ling Tian had the intention to befriend Xiao Yi. If Xiao Yi managed to squeeze into the ranks of the aristocratic families, it would be good for his Ling family. Tang Wushuang who was at the side clenched his fists tightly. I didn't expect that I would be fooled by Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi, since you don't treat me as a brother, don't blame me for falling out with you. Xiao Yi who was on the battlefield held the Xianyuan sword in his hand and wore the black tortoise armor, looking exactly the same as when he fought against Death Mage. Immediately, a cold light came towards Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi hurriedly dodged, and when he turned around to look at the position he was at just now, it was filled with icicles. Without thinking too much, Xiao Yi dodged again, and the position he was at just now actually became a deep hole. Since I can't see it, then I will break it. Heaven's Punishment Sword Formula, Void Break. Xiao Yi could be seen stabbing the Xianyuan sword into the ground, and the ground immediately started to boil like boiling water. A wave of spiritual energy started to gather in the Xianyuan sword. Boom! With Xiao Yi as the center, a wave of golden light spread out in a circular shape, and Sun Yi and the others who just disappeared were all revealed. Hai Daisy cried out involuntarily, "You actually broke my special ability." Xiao Yi looked at Hai Daisy and sneered, "There is no special ability that the Xianyuan sword cannot break. Next, I will let all of you witness the might of the Xianyuan sword." Xianyuan art, illumination. The Xianyuan sword instantly floated up into the sky, and Xiao Yi who was below immediately made a hand seal. The spiritual energy on his body became denser and denser, and within this spiritual energy, there was also a trace of black fog which was not very eye-catching. Puchi. Xiao Yi's face sunk, and he slowly lowered his head. A dagger that was emitting a cold light pierced through his chest, and the blade of the dagger was still dripping with his own blood. When he turned around to take a look, it was actually Tang Wushuang. Xiao Yi had calculated everything, but he didn't expect that Tang Wushuang would actually kill him. Sneak attack. In actuality, Xiao Yi was still worried about Tang Wushuang's resentment. Xiao Yi thought that Tang Wushuang would fight against him openly, but he didn't expect that Tang Wushuang would actually sneak attack him. Furthermore, this dagger shouldn't be an ordinary item, as it was actually able to pierce through armor. This dagger was borrowed by Tang Wushuang's teacher, and it was an unremarkable ancient godly item. Tang Wushuang had to return it to Tang Wushuang. Chapter 222. The sudden sneak attack stunned everyone. Everyone knew that the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang wasn't bad. Even if the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang had fallen out, it wouldn't be to the extent of sneak attacking Tang Wushuang from behind, right? After all, sneak attacking Tang Wushuang in this kind of situation wasn't a glorious thing. With Tang Wushuang's way of doing things, even if he managed to obtain the Xianyuan sword, he would still fail the aristocratic family's evaluation. There was a problem with the family head's way of doing things. Right now, Tang Wushuang's gaze was no longer on the Xianyuan sword, he only wanted to kill this ungrateful brother of his. Tang Wushuang! Ling Tian shouted out angrily. He punched out with a ferocious momentum, and the vigorous spiritual energy turned into a giant golden fist. Tang Wushuang's expression turned serious. Pulling out his dagger, he clenched his right hand into a fist and actually punched towards the huge fist. Don't forget, Tang Wushuang is also very strong. Otherwise, the sneak attack wouldn't have gone so smoothly. He wasn't called the king of soldiers for nothing. Boom boom boom. A series of loud explosions rang out, and waves of astonishing spiritual energy swept out in all directions, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. Sun Yi, Hai Daisy, and Guang Tianlu were delighted. This Tang Wushuang could be said to have helped them a lot. The Xianyuan sword in the sky lost control of Xiao Yi and stabbed straight into the ground. Sun Yi was the first to react, and she dashed towards the Xianyuan sword. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu who were at the back came back to their senses. They scolded him for being shameless and hurriedly rushed forward. Right now, Xiao Yi was forced back and powerlessly fell to the ground. Blood was gushing out from his chest, but if one looked at his body, they would see a black mist slowly healing. However, Xiao Yi's gaze was fixated on Tang Wushuang's back view. He didn't dare to believe that Tang Wushuang would do such a thing. Sun Yi's speed was extremely fast. She grabbed the hilt of the Xianyuan sword with her delicate hand and pulled it out fiercely. She laughed wildly and said, "The Xianyuan sword belongs to me, Sun Yi." Just as Sun Yi was rejoicing, the 3 ice-bone dragons charged at Sun Yi fiercely. Sun Yi snorted coldly and waved the Xianyuan sword in her hand. Suddenly, a golden light bloomed, and the 3 ice-bone dragons were forced to retreat. Guang Tian rode. "What are you trying to do?" Sun Yi questioned coldly. "Sect Master Sun, it's not appropriate for you to snatch it away just like that." Guang Tianlu's calm face revealed his anger. Sun Yi laughed delicately. "Guang Tianlu, when we came here, we already agreed that this Xianyuan sword would belong to whoever snatches it first. Hi Dicey. What are you standing there for? Grab the sword. Guang Tianlu shouted at Hai Dicey, who was standing at the side. Another card appeared in his hand, and the 3 ice-bone dragons started to fuse. Their bodies fused together and transformed into 3 ice-bone dragon kings. Hai Dicey's expression was solemn, his hands quickly forming a seal, coldly shouting, "Ice roar." Huge blocks of ice instantly appeared around Sun Yi, and the surrounding temperature plummeted. Each block of ice contained a vast amount of spiritual qi. Sun Yi, who was in the middle of the formation, was facing the attacks of the 2 great forces. It seemed that she was not at ease. After all, she had just obtained the Xianyuan sword and did not have the time to decipher its mysteries. Under Guang Tianlu's control, Icebone Dragon King spewed out 3 streams of ice flame. Suddenly, the sky was covered with ice, and the sky that was originally covered with dark clouds was suddenly filled with a blizzard. Hi Dicey. Guang Tian rode. My Yin sect is irreconcilable with you. Hai Dicey sneered, Sun Yi. If you obediently hand over the Xianyuan sword, you can still be the sect leader. Otherwise, don't even think about it. The ancient divine beast at the side let out a loud roar, and the might of a divine beast attacked towards the 2 of them without holding back. The scales on its body actually left its body and flew towards the 2 of them like a swarm of bees. Hai Dicey and Guang Tianlu's expression tensed up, and they immediately used their martial arts to defend themselves. However, were the scales on the body of the ancient divine beast fake? Obviously not, and the 2's defense was instantly destroyed. As expected of Yun Sect's foundation, it cannot be underestimated. Guang Tianlu had no choice but to control Icebone Dragon King to attack the ancient divine beast, and the pressure on Sun Fang instantly decreased by a lot. Hai Dicey. Go and die. Sun Fang used the Xianyuan sword in her hand to break through the formation, and pointed the sword at Hai Dicey. Hai Dicey was only a long-range metahuman, and he did not have strong close combat abilities like Death Mage. Thus, he could only choose to dodge. The 2 of them started a chase. Sun Yi was like a shrew, slashing with the Xianyuan sword, while Hai Dicey was like a bullied husband, dodging in all sorts of ways. Sun Fang, who was chasing after Hai Dicey, suddenly frowned. She felt a sense of danger. A silver needle that was flickering with a cold light pierced into the back of Sun Yi's hand, and she instantly felt numb. The Xianyuan sword in Sun Yi's hand fell onto the ground once again. A black silhouette passed through the air, and the Xianyuan sword that was on the ground instantly disappeared. The 3 of them stopped attacking each other at the same time and looked at the 2 people who were walking over from the sky. The back of Sun Yi's hand quickly turned purple. Not daring to be careless, Sun Yi hurriedly swallowed a pill, then sat cross-legged and started refining the pill. Guang Tianlu shouted out gravely, Saint Dr. Song Huang. Fu Xiu. Fu Xiu could be seen holding onto the Xianyuan sword. Seems like that black silhouette just now was him, and the person who was standing at the side with a smile on his face was precisely Saint Dr. Song Huang. With the title of killing people with his left hand and saving people with his right hand, the title of Saint Dr. Song Huang was extremely famous and resounded throughout the entire north. The only difference between Song Huang and Long Outyan was that one appeared earlier, while the other appeared later. One didn't run into Yi Hua, while the other ran into him. The silver needle just now was shot out by Song Huang, and the silver needle was smeared with deadly poison. Of course, Song Huang would not lick the silver needle himself. Meanwhile, Fu Xiu was just an ordinary family's patriarch. His strength was ordinary, but his speed was extremely fast. He was even able to travel through space while running. His ability was a bit overpowered. Fu Xiu could be seen cupping his hands towards Song Huang, who was standing at the side with a faint smile on his face. Thank you, Saint Doctor, for lending me a hand. Patriarch Fu is too courteous. Back then, you helped me. Today, I shall return the favor. Song Huang smiled faintly, appearing very amiable. However, only Sun Yi knew how vicious this Saint Doctor was. Song Huang looked at the Xianyuan sword. He didn't want to own the Xianyuan sword. He preferred to live a free and unfettered life. Since Patriarch Fu has gotten what he wanted, I will take my leave. Thank you. Just as Song Huang was about to leave, he suddenly frowned. It was the same for Fu Xiu. The Xianyuan sword in his hand was vibrating slightly. What was going on? He looked at Xiao Yi, who had fallen to the side. It seemed like he didn't have the strength to control the Xianyuan sword. What was going on? Everyone knew about Fu Xiu. As long as he took something away, it would be very difficult to get it back. After all, his speed was too fast, and there was no way to get it back unless someone was faster. Furthermore, Saint Dr. Song Huang was protecting him, making it even harder to snatch him back. The northern aristocratic families were going back on their words. Sun Yi and the other two were about to go mad from anger. However, the two of them did not leave in a hurry after snatching it. Their expressions were very strange. Fu Xiu. There is a problem with this Xianyuan sword, quickly throw it away. Song Huang shouted out hurriedly. Without thinking too much, Fu Xiu immediately tossed the Xianyuan sword in his hand out. When Guang Tianlu saw the Xianyuan sword that was in the air, he immediately controlled Ice Bone Dragon King to bite onto the Xianyuan sword. Xianyuan sword belongs to Guang family. Chapter 223. Long and City, Leisure Bar. 10 minutes ago, Yi Hua was currently sitting on the sofa in his bedroom with both of his legs placed on the coffee table and silently smoking. The family conflict caused Yi Hua to suffer unspeakably. Both of my hands are flesh, what choice do I have? Impossible, how can I give up my woman? Even if I die, I have to pull her up and continue to be my woman. But these two women are really annoying, one wants to split the child, the other would rather die than submit. How can their personalities be so unyielding? They don't have the gentleness that a woman should have. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Suddenly, Wei Chang appeared behind Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully. What's the matter? Yi Hua asked faintly. Hearing his honor's tone, I can tell that his mood isn't very good. I am also very depressed. Xiao Tang is ignoring me today. How can Tang Wei not be angry? We can clearly live together, but suddenly, two non-mainstream people appeared. Uncle Wei's male chauvinism is too serious. Wei Chang said lightly, Your Honor, subordinates said that I left a bit of aura on Xianyuan's sword for your honor to play with, and now, the time is ripe. Oh, that Xiao Yi is going to die again? Yi Hua asked faintly. The situation isn't very optimistic, but he can still keep his life. Yi Hua shook his head. Seems like I overestimated this Xiao Yi, he can't even kill a few people. It is precisely because of this that his honor is able to play around. After all, his honor's mood isn't very good these few days, killing a few people can relieve your mood. Wei Chang bowed his body and laughed lightly. As a subordinate, I have to make my boss happy. If I were to use this kind of effort to treat Tang Wei would probably be touched to death and directly push Wei Chang down. Yi Hua sighed, but his mood isn't very good. I'll just play around then. Wei Chang, it seems like you understand me well. Then, subordinate will not disturb his honor's fun anymore, I will take my leave. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared from the bedroom. Yi Hua waved his hand, then began searching for the aura that Wei Chang left behind. Very quickly, he found it. There aren't many people here, killing them won't be of any use. That Xiao Yi is just like a salted fish that is lying on the ground, I am truly disappointed. Yi Hua could be seen raising his hand and stretching out his index finger, intending to control Xianyuan's sword from a distance. This Xianyuan sword actually dares to resist, interesting, but in front of me, Xianyuan's sword. In just a few moments, Yi Hua had already infiltrated into the interior of Xianyuan's sword. Right now, Yi Hua was lying on the sofa with his eyes closed, and his index finger was slowly moving, as if he was recalling something, recalling those people's terrified expressions. At the venue, Hai Daisy looked at the Xianyuan sword floating in the air and rushed over, grabbing it. The Xianyuan sword belongs to the Southern Alliance. Everyone remained silent and looked at the Xianyuan sword nervously. What had just happened was too bizarre. The Ice-Bone Dragon King's explosion had injured Guang Tianlu, and Sun Yi was sitting cross-legged to detoxify the poison. There were only a few people present. However, there were a few groups of people hiding in the surroundings. They seemed to want to seize the opportunity to attack, but when they saw the situation, they seemed to calm down. Just as Hai Daisy was overjoyed, the Xianyuan sword in his right hand actually rotated 360 degrees. Ah! Hai Daisy's entire right arm was cut off by the Xianyuan sword. This sudden scene was inconceivable. Xiao Yi was unconscious, so who was controlling the Xianyuan sword? Itself? How could this be? The severed arm flew in the air. Yi Hua's index finger slowly moved, and Xianyuan's sword could be seen turning into afterimages. The entire arm was sliced into powder by Xianyuan's sword. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. Right now, I can't even catch up to the arm anymore. Quickly run. Song Huang shouted out loudly. This is a trap. Fu Xiu's speed was extremely fast, and he disappeared in an instant. Yi Hua laughed lightly, you are quite fast. With a wave of Yi Hua's finger, Xianyuan's sword that was thousands of miles away turned into a golden afterimage and rushed straight towards Fu Xiu. Fu Xiu, who was running frantically, turned his head around to take a look, and his eyeballs almost popped out. That Xianyuan sword actually caught up to me, and it is even at the same level as me. Furthermore, it even swung the sword's body, as if it was mocking me. How is this possible? Fu Xiu found it hard to believe. Even the experts from aristocratic families don't have a speed like mine. This ancient godly item Xianyuan sword has such an ability? No. It is definitely being controlled by someone. Xianyuan sword's speed could be seen becoming even faster. When it arrived in front of Fu Xiu, it suddenly drifted. Puchi. His heart turned cold. Fu Xiu stared at the Xianyuan sword in his stomach in a daze. He still felt like he was dreaming. Initially, Yi Futian thought that with his speed and Song Huang's protection, the Xianyuan sword would definitely be able to pierce through Yi Futian's body. And now, the Xianyuan sword had indeed pierced through Yi Futian's abdomen. The Xianyuan sword dragged Fu Xiu's body back to the scene. Everyone at the scene thought that the Xianyuan sword had run away, but they didn't expect the Xianyuan sword to bring Fu Xiu back. Song Huang's face was filled with shock. He was well aware of Fu Xiu's speed. In terms of speed, not many people could be faster than Fu Xiu. However, such a person was actually pierced by the Xianyuan sword and brought back. Not to mention himself and the others. Right now, everyone didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. Ling Tian, who was guarding Xiao Yi and fighting intensely with Tang Wushuang, also stopped when he saw this scene. The Xianyuan sword tossed Fu Xiu into the air. Yi Hua's index finger lightly moved, and at the same time, Xianyuan's sword drew out rays of golden light in the air. Fu Xiu's limbs were amputated in the air, turning into pieces that fell to the ground. It was a chilling scene. Tang Wushuang wasn't in a hurry to think. If he didn't run now, the one who would die later on would be him. Yi Hua closed his eyes and said coldly, trying to run. No one will be able to escape today. Just like Fu Xiu, Tang Wushuang's abdomen was pierced through and brought back. However, Tang Wushuang didn't die, but rather, he was thrown onto the ground. Ling Tian swallowed his saliva. I've tested Tang Wushuang's strength just now, and he's even more powerful than before. However, he was still pierced through by the Xianyuan sword. Could it be that it's still Xiao Yi? He pretended to be sick again, but he was actually controlling the Xianyuan sword to kill people. Act tough, King Xiao, stop pretending. I know it's you. Ling Tian shook Xiao Yi, but Xiao Yi didn't react. Everyone at the scene knew that whoever ran would die. Even Song Huang descended from the sky and stared at the Xianyuan sword cautiously. Shua! The Xianyuan sword disappeared again, and when it reappeared, it was followed by 20 to 30 people, all of whom had lost an arm. Song Huang furrowed his brows. These people were all the higher-ups of the northern forces. It seemed like they were all hiding at the side, observing the situation, or waiting for the right moment to snatch the treasure. Unfortunately, he was too unlucky. Right now, Xianyuan's sword was just like a big brother, looking down at these people and fluttering back and forth along with Yihua's finger. Sage Doctor, what should we do now? This sword is very strange. One of the people in the group asked gravely. Song Huang shook his head and didn't say anything. Right now, Xianyuan's sword was like a kidnapper, and I and the others were like hostages. Whether we live or die would be decided by a single thought from Xianyuan's sword. If Xianyuan's sword wanted to run away, Xianyuan's sword would pierce through his heart. Although Tang Wushuang didn't die right now, he wasn't far from death. Alliance Master Hai, are you alright? Guang Tianlu asked weakly. Hai Daisy had already stopped bleeding, but his face was pale. I'm alright, how about you? Chapter 224. Are you guys going to run? The weak Sunny slowly walked over and asked. The two of them shook their heads. Running away now was the same as courting death. If they wanted to die, they could run. Yihua lied on the sofa, and his mood became a bit better. Seems like only by doing this can I make myself slightly happy and not think about those two women. Just as Yihua was preparing to deal with those people, Dong Huangli suddenly opened the door and entered the room, then shouted out sweetly, Daddy. Yihua opened his eyes and revealed out a light smile. Ali, what happened? Dong Huangli could be seen running to Yihua's side, then grabbed onto Yihua's hand that was controlling Xianyuan's sword with both of her hands. Dong Huangli began shaking Xianyuan's sword violently, then said coquettishly, Daddy, play with Ali. Yihua's index finger shook violently along with Dong Huangli's shaking. Ali, Daddy is working. Boo-hoo Papa, Ali misses you. Dong Huangli could be seen increasing the strength of Yihua's hands, and the arc of Yihua's swaying became bigger and bigger, and the speed of Yihua's swaying also became faster and faster. Right now, the Xianyuan sword was like a drunkard, flying around in the air, making people feel numb. Run! Song Huang shouted out anxiously. Everyone began to run in all directions, but the range of the Xianyuan sword's swing was getting wider and wider, and its speed was getting faster and faster. Many people were inexplicably cut in half at the waist while running, or their heads were separated from their bodies. Everyone could see that the Xianyuan sword seemed to be out of control, so they ran even more desperately. The scene suddenly turned into purgatory, and blood flew everywhere. On the other hand, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground, managed to avoid this calamity. On the other hand, Sun Fang's group of 3 were luckier. They quickly fled to the north. Daddy Ali will bring you to eat chicken, okay? Ali will let you show off your might in front of Aunt Qing, and perhaps, Aunt Qing will forgive you. While acting coquettishly, Dong Huangli shook Yihua's arm. I wonder how many people died when you shook them like that. Okay, Ali will wait for Papa first. Papa will be here soon. Let's pinky swear then. Dong Huangli stretched out her pinky. Of course, Yihua would satisfy his daughter's various requests. After his daughter left, Yihua looked towards the scene, and his expression immediately sunk. The Xianyuan sword, which was flying around randomly, also stopped moving. They actually ran away. Yihua let out a breath. After thinking for a bit, accompanying my daughter is more important. With a flick of his index finger, Xianyuan's sword directly stabbed towards the side of Xiao Yi. Ling Tian looked at this scene dumbfoundedly and said to the unconscious Xiao Yi, and you said you weren't acting cool. I've never seen someone so good at pretending. Hurry up and get up. They've already left. Even if you act cool, no one will applaud you. Ling Tian shouted out helplessly. Looking at the Xianyuan sword in front of him, Ling Tian did not dare to take it. He was afraid that the situation from before would happen again. For example, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground. Just a moment ago, the Xianyuan sword had accidentally stabbed into his crotch. However, right now, Tang Wushuang's crotch was completely blood red, and his stomach was the same as well. Not long after, Xiao Yi woke up. Big brother Xiao, you're finally awake. Ling Tian exclaimed as he supported Xiao Yi. What's wrong? Xiao Yi asked blankly. Ling Tian rolled his eyes. Brother Xiao, I know you're humble, but if you continue to be so humble, you won't have any friends. Xiao Yi was confused and expressed that he really didn't know. She helped Xiao Yi to stand up. Brother Xiao, what should we do with that Tang Wushuang? Ling Tian looked towards Tang Wushuang, who was on the verge of death, and asked. Xiao Yi took a look, then said gravely, whether he lives or dies will depend on his own luck. I, Xiao Yi, don't owe him any more. Ling Tian nodded his head, then brought Xiao Yi along and wanted to go back. After the two left, a man appeared. With his brows wrinkled, he looked at his phone. F***ck, he's gone again. I'm going to cut off one of his legs when I go back. This man was precisely Gui Qingren, Tang Wushuang's master. Looking at his disciple's miserable state, Gui Qingren shook his head. This disciple is truly making me lose face. Master, save me. Tang Wushuang stretched out his bloody hand. Gui Qingren said coldly, don't touch me, I look very dirty. Master. Tang Wushuang shouted out weakly. Gui Qingren was helpless. With a wave of his hand, the two disappeared from the scene. The entire world returned back to normal, and the black clouds in the sky gradually dispersed as well. Only the bloodstains on the ground could prove that a battle had happened here. Yi Hua, who was in the bedroom, thought for a while, then decided to contact Wei Chang. I can't let them off so easily. Your Honor. Are you feeling better now? Wei Chang appeared in the bedroom and asked respectfully. Yi Hua let out a sigh. I was interrupted by Ali. Your Honor definitely didn't do it on purpose. I naturally know that, which is why I called you over. Go and deal with those people from just now. Yi Hua said faintly. Wei Chang remained silent for a moment, then said, Your Honor, subordinate has something that I don't know if I should say or not. Speak. This time, the North and the South had an agreement beforehand. If the three people from the South died in the North, I think it would be even better. Yi Hua was startled. I didn't expect that Wei Chang would have such a realization. Wei Chang, your recent performance is very good. If you have any requests, you can let me know. Yi Hua was very happy. It is a good thing for subordinates to have brains, especially Wei Chang. From not having a brain to having a brain, the change is really big. Wei Chang didn't dare to be greedy and said hurriedly, although Your Honor didn't say it out, in actuality, you were trying to test subordinates' adaptability. Fortunately, subordinate answered correctly. Yi Hua was startled, and his expression was a bit flabbergasted. Soon after, Yi Hua revealed out a smile, to be able to see through my true intentions. Wei Chang, you are truly becoming more and more creative. Subordinate doesn't dare to, it is all because of Your Honor's guidance. In actuality, subordinate doesn't have any requests, I just hope that Your Honor can give subordinate a raise in salary. After all, I have a girlfriend now, and my expenses are somewhat unable to keep up. Wei Chang indeed didn't have any money right now. Sometimes, he would even use Xiao Tang's money to refuel the Porsche. Yi Hua nodded his head, this is all a small matter, I will double your salary. Thank you, Your Honor. Wei Chang hurriedly kowtowed and thanked Yi Hua. Oh right, who do you intend to call to deal with those three people? Yi Hua asked curiously. Green and Red Brothers, they need combat experience right now, I will use them for Green and Red Brothers to train. Yi Hua said faintly, that's fine too, in the future, give them more missions to increase their combat experience, and with that, they will be able to protect Ali in the future. Yes. You can leave now. After Wei Chang left, Yi Hua rubbed onto his hair and muttered to himself, when did this Wei Chang become so smart? I, the Supreme Overlord, am not used to it. However, in the end, it was still a good thing. Yi Hua arrived at Qin Yutong's room and saw that his daughter and Yi Zizi were currently playing games, and Qin Yutong was nowhere to be seen. Daddy, Ali has already started fighting by herself, you can go back to sleep. Dong Huangli was very serious when fighting against Yi Zizi, because she was fighting against Yi Zizi. Big cousin, big sister Qing went to your office. She was called over by big sister-in-law. Yi Zizi added. Yi Hua's eyes shone. I hope that Qin Yutong's guidance will be useful. Let's go and listen to what they are talking about first. Forget it. Am I the kind of person who eavesdrops on others? If word of this got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Chapter 225. In the office. Qin Ye's surroundings were filled with crumpled napkins. Qin Ye was currently wiping away her tears, looking very pitiful. Qin Yutong sat in front of her big sister and sized her up attentively. It is good that big sister is able to cry and get angry, at least it proves that big sister still cares about you. If he really didn't care, then he would be in an ordinary state. This scoundrel, I am going to freeze his card. Finished speaking, Qin Ye took out her phone and called the bank, freezing Yi Hua's card. Yi Hua, who was outside the door, almost rushed in. Just a moment ago, I had just agreed to give Wei Cheng a raise, and in the blink of an eye, you froze my card. How am I going to be the boss? Qin Ye choked with sobs and said, Woo, I want to see how he is going to eat crayfish. Yutong, your brother-in-law is too much of a bully. Big sister, this is already very good. Qin Yutong consoled, then took out a tissue and passed it to her big sister. While sobbing, Qin Ye asked, this is still all right? Of course. Brother-in-law wanted to take me into his harem. Didn't you come to give me condoms? Qin Yutong. I didn't call you over to talk nonsense, I called you over to think of a solution. Qin Ye shouted angrily and shyly. Even at this time, you are still making this kind of joke. Yi Hua, who was outside the door, really wanted to smack his butt. Your big sister is already angry to that extent, and you are still adding fuel to the fire. Qin Yutong could be heard saying attentively, Big sister, let's take a step back and think about it. This is brother-in-law's past romance, and there is also Ali. I'm afraid that brother-in-law doesn't know about these matters. If brother-in-law knew, he would have brought Ali back long ago. These few days, you have also seen brother-in-law's attitude towards Ali. This means that brother-in-law indeed doesn't know about it. Qin Yutong was also judging the matter as it was, and was impartial. Yi Hua, who was standing at the doorway, silently nodded his head. There is no problem with Yutong's explanation. But that woman is really beautiful. Brother-in-law is tempted. Qin Yutong's following words caused Yi Hua's expression to darken. What do you mean by not being moved? She is already my woman, is there still a need for me to be moved? All he had to do was take action. Hearing that, Qin Ye's tears became bigger. Your brother-in-law is a playboy. I didn't know it before, but now I see through him. Sis, which man isn't fickle? Those who aren't fickle are all gay. Qin Yutong. Your sister, have been cheated, and you're still smiling. Qin Yutong laughed bitterly. Big sister, you said that brother-in-law lied to you, but just what did he lie to you about? In any case, he is lying. If not for the fact that Qin Ye was pregnant, Yi Hua would have really wanted to smack her butt and forcefully accuse her of something. Did brother-in-law lie to you to go to bed with him, or did he lie to you to do that? Qin Yutong's eyebrows twitched and said, you know what I mean. Qin Yutong, get out. Big sister, think back to those days when you two were on your honeymoon, that scene of you two kissing passionately in front of me and Yi Zizi, and that fragrant tongue of yours had even reached into brother-in-law's mouth. TSK. Just looking at it made my entire body go numb. Scram. Qin Ye's face flushed red, then picked up the pillow and threw it towards Qin Yutong. Qin Yutong let out a breath, then persuaded, actually, I feel that brother-in-law is really very good, and he is also very attentive towards big sister. Other than him liking to act cool, drinking and smoking, he doesn't seem to have any bad habits. Isn't that a bad habit? All that's left is the yellow gambling. Brother-in-law doesn't like that kind of thing, he likes big sister's kind of thing. Qin Yutong teased. Get out, I don't want to listen to your crooked reasoning, your brother-in-law definitely gave you benefits. Qin Yutong placed both of her hands on her waist. Big sister, you can insult my person, but you can't insult my character. I, Qin Yutong, in any case, was born as a young pioneer. I will reject all bribes. Last night, I even spat at brother-in-law and asked him to divorce you. Ah. Qinya could be heard crying out in surprise, then immediately felt that her reaction was too big, so she immediately turned her face away. Qin Yutong had a look of disdain on her face. Even someone like you can still get angry, just talking about divorce. You are already so nervous. Didn't you see brother-in-law's expression at that time? It was as if his wife had died. Qin Yutong, who are you cursing to die? Big sister, I am just making an analogy. I might as well act it out for you. Qin Yutong coughed lightly and put on Yihua's expression. Suddenly, Qin Yutong's expression collapsed, then said pleadingly, Yutong, quickly go and beg your big sister for me. I can't live without her. If your big sister were to leave, don't even think about living anymore. Yihua took a deep breath. If I mess up with Qin Yutong, then I will really teach you a lesson. Furthermore, would I, the supreme overlord, go and beg a woman like this? What a joke. Yutong, your acting is a bit exaggerated. Yihua wouldn't say something like this at all. Qinya could be said to understand Yihua. He is a person who cares about his face no matter what. Don't mind those details. Brother-in-law talked with me for an hour last night. Don't even mention how miserable he was. Thinking back to last night, brother-in-law even killed a few people, and in the end, under Yizizi's lead, brother-in-law won the chicken dinner. Alright, I don't want to listen anymore, you can go out. Qinya felt that she couldn't continue listening. The more she listened, the softer her heart became. I have to be a bit firmer. Right. I have to be firm in my conviction. Qin Yutong felt that it was about time. Looking at big sister, she doesn't seem to be the kind that wants to die, she is just jealous, that's all. Yihua immediately spread out and pretended to go upstairs. After closing the door, Qin Yutong laughed tenderly, brother-in-law, stop pretending, you heard everything, right? This sister-in-law sure doesn't give me any face. What's the situation with your big sister? Yihua asked gravely. Qin Yutong's eyebrows twitched, and she had a look that said, you understand, on her face. We are going to eat meat tonight, I won't leave you out. Yihua said petulantly. Hee thank you, brother-in-law, in actuality, my big sister is just jealous, there isn't any big problem. Brother-in-law, if you leave her out for half a month, I guarantee that big sister will run over to reconcile with you. Qin Yutong said very casually, having a look as if she had been through this before. Yihua felt that this won't do, Qinya is serious this time. Qinya could be heard adding a sentence, brother-in-law, sometimes, when it's time to be hard, you should be hard. What do you mean? My big sister is just an ordinary person, you tell me how I should be hard. Qin Yutong rolled her eyes at Yihua. You don't even understand this. Yihua immediately understood what Qin Yutong meant and said gravely, get hard. Brother-in-law, do your best, get hard a few more times, big sister will naturally be convinced. Yutong, after this crisis is over, tell brother-in-law what you want. Yihua was very generous, as long as I am able to make Qinya change her mind, I am willing to give you Thanos. Qin Yutong pouted her mouth, brother-in-law, you are penniless right now, you better take care of yourself first. I don't have any money. After finished speaking, Qin Yutong slipped away. Yihua let out a light breath. After coaxing Qinya, I will naturally have money. How can I let this little rich woman slip away so easily? Now is the time for me to be hard. Yihua pushed open the office door. Yutong, I don't want to talk to you right now. Qinya said. It's me. Qinya could be seen taking a look at Yihua, then immediately lied down and turned her back towards Yihua. What are you doing here? Get out. Qinya shouted coldly. Yihua walked to the front of the sofa and said faintly, Qinya, I will give you 1 second to change your mind, if not, don't blame me for using hard methods. Yihua. Don't think that I, Qinya, am afraid of you. Are you getting up or not? Go and die. Chapter 226. Yihua could be seen hugging onto Qinya, and Qinya cried out in surprise, "Yihua! What are you doing? We are quarreling, you can't do this to me." "So what? I will do whatever I want to do," Yihua shouted out gravely, while Qinya was punching and kicking Yihua. "Don't move. Be careful of the child," Yihua shouted out coldly. In actuality, even if Qinya were to kill Yihua, nothing would happen to the child. The power of bloodline was not something that could be aborted so easily. Qinya's face was as cold as ice as she said coldly, "Yihua, please respect me. Then have you ever respected me? Don't tell me that I don't treat you well," Yihua questioned. "This woman is just an unreasonable woman. How big of a deal is this? I, the Supreme Overlord, already have so many wives, and if I, the Supreme Overlord, have one more wife, I will die." Qinya seemed to be unable to refute this question, and said, "In any case, you are a swindler, deceiving my feelings. I don't want you to hug me, put me down." "Come down? That's impossible. Don't you realize that you're stinking? I haven't showered for almost a day." Qinya wrinkled her eyebrows. "It seems that I haven't taken a bath for almost a day." In actuality, Qinya's body was still very fragrant, and Yihua said that intentionally. Carrying Qinya to the bedroom, he threw her into the bathroom and said, "Wash it properly, it's so smelly." After saying that, he closed the door, and the sound of smashing could be heard from inside. "If it's broken, call someone to fix it yourself," Yihua shouted out, then laid on the bed and waited. "It has been almost a day since I hugged this woman, and I miss her a lot." As soon as he said this, the smashing inside became even fiercer. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. "I, the Supreme Overlord, like this kind of woman. Hugging a woman like this is much more comfortable." Half an hour later, Qinya walked out of the room, took a look at Yihua, then prepared to directly run out of the room. Yihua laughed. "Qinya, you are still too childish. Don't you understand what I am thinking?" Qinya naturally understood. Isn't she preparing to run away now? Just that, before she could even reach the door, her body floated up and floated towards Yihua's embrace. "Yihua! You can't be this shameless!" Qinya, who was floating in the sky, shouted out. "I am a cultivator, what can you do to me?" Qinya almost exploded from anger as she said indignantly, "If you dare to touch me, I will." "I will." Yihua caught onto Qinya and hugged her tightly into his embrace, then asked curiously, "What are you planning to do?" "I'll bite you to death." After finished speaking, it really bit towards Yihua's arm. Yihua laughed bitterly. Last time, he was threatened by Qin Yutong and had his skin cut open by a knife, and now, he was bitten by Qinya. The pain that I am feeling right now is all caused by these two women. This is truly depressing. Qinya bit down very fiercely, and when the taste of blood came out from her mouth, she woke up. When she opened her mouth to take a look, a row of teeth marks could be seen, and the skin was bitten through. "Are you happy now?" Taking this rare opportunity, Yihua questioned coldly. Qinya didn't dare to look straight at him and said indignantly, "Let go of me. Otherwise, I'll bite again." "Then bite it. It's best if you can break it." "You! How did you become a scoundrel?" Qinya tried to struggle free from Yihua's embrace, but unfortunately, she did not have enough strength. Yihua didn't say anything and hugged Donghuang Baiji tightly. "This is so comfortable. I wonder how Donghuang Baiji will feel when hugging me. It's a pity that if she wants to get on my bed, she still needs to practice a lot more." After a long while, Qinya asked coldly, "Aren't you a cultivator? You can't even heal this little bit of injury?" Yihua replied faintly, "Why would I need to heal it? I'm just waiting for the wound to get infected, then I'll amputate it. When the child grows up and asks me, I'll tell him that it was your mother who broke it." Qinya looked at Yihua in disbelief. Shameless. After another 10 minutes passed, Qinya saw that the wound was still bleeding, and she was very worried. What if the wound really gets infected and I have to amputate it? This is a scoundrel, to use self-torture to threaten me. Let go of me. Chinya shouted out coldly. Not letting go. I'll go get the medicine box and help you bandage your wound, lest you become a one-armed hero. Chinya said angrily. You have a woman and a child outside, and you still want me to comfort you? Yi Hua was delighted. Seems like what I said on the internet is somewhat effective. Yi Hua let go of Chinya. Chinya took out the medicine box, then placed it on the bed, then carefully disinfected and bandaged the wound. Looking at Chinya's serious look, Yi Hua said lightly, not angry anymore? Do you think that's possible? Chinya said coldly. Yi Hua retracted his hand, then don't bandage my wound anymore, let me become a one-armed hero. When the child is born, I'll tell him about it. You. Why are you acting like a child? Chinya said angrily. You even want to snitch on a child, have you never seen it before? None of your business. Yi Hua snorted coldly. Give me your hand. Yi Hua said, not taking it. Are you taking it or not? Chinya, we are quarreling right now, stand properly at your position. Yi Hua said faintly. His current appearance was really asking for a beating. Meanwhile, Chinya was indeed quite angered. I helped you out of goodwill, and yet you still say such words, you are bullying me too much. Go and die then. Chinya snorted, then turned her face away and ignored Yi Hua, but she didn't get off the bed. After a long while, Yi Hua took a glance at Chinya and said faintly, Chinya, let's reconcile, stop quarreling. We are quarreling. Please stand properly at your position. Alright, the Supreme Overlord was counterattacked by his wife again. Yi Hua's head is really aching. I might as well just beat her up and let her know how powerful I am, but I am reluctant to. I am so conflicted. It's swollen. Yi Hua could be heard crying out in surprise. Chinya immediately turned her head around and looked at the wound, and it was indeed swollen. Why are you so troublesome? Chinya said angrily as she took out the medicine to disinfect the wound. A trace of a sneaky smile appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. Making the skin swell is just a small matter, I am still able to control it. And you still dare to say that you don't care about me, why are you so nervous? This woman is just saying one thing but thinking the other. What Yutong said is completely correct. Tonight, I will be able to hug her to sleep again, comfortable now, little Ali is also going to be with me. Life is actually so perfect, I am going to extend my vacation this time. Eat some anti-inflammatory medicine. Chinya took out 2 amoxicillin. Water. You really are a big uncle. Although Chinya said that, she still went to pour water for Yi Hua. Looking at Chinya's back view, Yi Hua mumbled, Chinya, I really don't know what my life would be like without you. Chinya, who was pouring water for Yi Hua, paused for a moment, then said faintly, without me, you would still be able to live your life as usual, and there would still be Dongwang Baiji to take care of you. But I just like you. Yi Hua. Let me tell you, it is already too late for you to say words of love to me now. I will not listen to you. Yi Hua placed the cup on the bedside table heavily, and the water splashed out. The internet is all lies, I don't believe it anymore. Yi Hua has a temper, I have never lowered myself before. Just now, I already said so much, yet you still don't want to give me face. Chinya. Let me tell you, you are going to fall into my hands for the rest of your life. Even if I have to tie you up, I will still tie you up with me. Yi Hua. You bastard. Chapter 227. Chinya immediately jumped onto the bed and sat on Yi Hua's body, then picked up a pillow and started smashing it. Meanwhile, Yi Hua turned over and pressed Chinya down, then shouted out coldly, you dare to hit me. So what if I hit you? Right at this moment, the door was pushed open, and when Dong Huangli saw the scene inside, she cried out in surprise, Daddy, you have reconciled with Aunt Qing, this is great. Chinya used all her strength to push Yi Hua away. Yi Hua didn't want to hurt Chinya, so he didn't use any strength. He got up and carried his daughter. Ali, your Aunt Qing came over to admit her mistake. Qingya was very angry, but she didn't say anything. After all, it wasn't good to do so in front of a child. Daddy is so handsome. Dong Huangli gave a thumbs up. Nothing is better than being able to correct one's mistakes. Do you remember that, Ali? Dong Huangli nodded her head, then said, Daddy, Ali is tired from playing, I want to sleep now. Can you let Aunt Qing accompany Ali to sleep? Aunt Qing didn't sleep well last night either. Yihua knew that Qingya wouldn't reject Ali. After all, now that the two of them were familiar with each other, he would be able to relax a bit. Dong Huangli blinked her big eyes. Qingya, take good care of Ali. After placing his daughter on the bed, Yihua said faintly. Qingya's emotions were actually very complicated. Firstly, she liked how obedient and sensible Ali was, and secondly, Ali was Yihua's child with another woman. It would be a lie to say that Yihua didn't have any enmity towards that woman. However, after hearing what that woman said, she was actually quite pitiful. She came to find Yihua while pregnant, but Yihua ignored her, and she even gave birth to the child and raised the child by himself. If it wasn't for Ali running away from home this time and coming here because of the game, Yihua probably wouldn't even know that he had a child outside. Both of them were pitiful women. However, Ali was angered by Yihua's lies and that arrogant look on his face. He clearly did something wrong, yet he didn't repent at all, and even said that it was someone else's fault. Even if you are a cultivator, you can't be so rude and unreasonable. I am your wife, not your mistress. Yihua closed the door and told them to get along with each other, while he went downstairs to teach Dong Huang Baiji a lesson. I have to teach these women a lesson and let them know how to be a qualified wife. Especially this Dong Huang Baiji. To be precise, this is the second time I've met her, and my daughter is already almost 3 years old. I really didn't expect this. Coming downstairs, Yihua saw that Dong Huang Baiji was currently sitting on the broken bar counter and drinking wine. Dong Huang Baiji's gaze was currently blurred. Without the support of spiritual energy, Dong Huang Baiji was just like an ordinary person. Thus, it was only natural that she would get drunk very quickly. Looking at Dong Huang Baiji's current state, Yihua let out a sigh. If I had come down back then, I reckon that Qingya wouldn't have gotten involved in this. It's fortunate that I didn't come down, if not, I wouldn't have been able to come across Qingya. It was just that he owed her. Yihua walked over and sat beside Dong Huang Baiji, then poured himself a cup of wine. Just like that, the two of them drank one cup after another without saying a word. Does your butt still hurt? In the end, Yihua couldn't help but ask. Dong Huang Baiji had won this battle of silence. When had Dong Huang Baiji ever been spanked before? Dong Huang Baiji sneered, didn't you have a good time spanking me? If you didn't make me angry, why would I hit you? Yihua said calmly. If it was another man, he would definitely beg and apologize to Dong Huang Baiji. This way, Dong Huang Baiji's heart would soften, and perhaps, Dong Huang Baiji might even reconcile with Dong Huang Baiji. After all, when Dong Huang Baiji came to Voidless Realm, she had already thought about it. If Yihua apologized sincerely, for the sake of her daughter's future, Dong Huang Baiji planned to bring Yihua to Voidless Realm. In the end, I didn't expect that Yihua wasn't an ordinary person and was even more formidable than me. From what Dong Huang Baiji had said, it could be seen that Dong Huang Baiji was still willing to bear some of the rumors and slanders. As an empress, marrying an ordinary man was a joke in and of itself. However, for the sake of her daughter, Dong Huang Baiji was still firm in her decision. Of course, this was what he thought before he came. From this, it could be seen just how important Dong Huangli was in Dong Huang Baiji's heart. Dong Huangli's feelings towards Yihua were very vague. Dong Huangli bore grudges against Dong Huang Baiji for 3 years, worried about Dong Huangli for 3 years, and thought about Dong Huangli for 3 years. Every time she saw her daughter, she would think of Yihua. Yihua's figure had long since taken root in Dong Huang Baiji's heart. When Dong Huang Baiji heard that Yihua had gotten married, Dong Wang Baiji became angry and decided to make Yi Hua a cuckold to take revenge on him. Unfortunately, he was caught before he could take his revenge. Why didn't you come down during those few days? Dong Wang Baiji held on to her chin and asked. Why is this woman always tangling with this question? Is there any meaning to it? It has already been so long. Perhaps, to Yi Hua, this question might not be important. However, to Dong Wang Baiji, this was a question that she had to decide whether to forgive or not. Yi Hua became silent. What should I say? I was in a bad mood during those few days because Lai Gu bit off the internet cable while dreaming, causing me to not be able to watch Calabash Brothers. This is all Lai Gu's fault. If Lai Gu wasn't dreaming, he wouldn't have bitten off the internet cable. If Lai Gu didn't bite off the internet cable, my mood might have been pretty good. Perhaps I would have come down and lived with Qinya. Thinking about it, Lai Gu's bite on the internet cable was pretty good. After pondering for a while, Yi Hua said faintly, it wasn't convenient for me during those few days. Hearing Yi Hua's explanation, Dong Wang Baiji laughed at herself. It wasn't convenient for you. Did your aunt come? Aunt? I don't have any relatives. Yi Hua still didn't understand the meaning of aunt, and he was still thinking about the relationship between being inconvenient and aunt. Dong Wang Baiji laughed. If you don't even understand this, how can you be a man? What is she talking about? This woman can't be drunk, right? If you still insist on what happened 3 years ago, I will slowly make it up to you in the future. As a man, I still have to put an end to the things that happened 3 years ago and do what I have to do. After all, only when my family is in harmony will I be able to show off my abilities in the outside world. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the mood to bother about those trivial things anymore. Make it up to me? How do you want to make it up to me? Do you want to piece my shattered heart back together? Dong Wang Baiji lied on the bar counter and laughed while resting her head on her arms, looking like she was very drunk. Letting out a breath, Yi Hua took a sip of wine and said faintly, you can make it up to me however you want. Hee, I don't need it, I only want Ali. We are living very well, there is no need for you to come in. Bang! The wine glass in Yi Hua's hand was crushed into pieces. This woman sure is thick-headed. What? You want to hit me again? Go ahead and hit me, it would be best if you hit me to death. This way, no one will disturb you anymore. Hearing what Qinya said, Yi Hua immediately became angry. Back then, even Qinya didn't do this to me. At most, she would only threaten me and say things like perishing together with me. Why do these women always like to use death to threaten me? If you aren't my woman, I wouldn't care whether you live or die. Yi Hua stood up and said coldly, don't worry, I won't hit you. But, you can forget about leaving this bar in your entire life. After finished speaking, Yi Hua turned around and went upstairs. Chapter 228. The wine bottle smashed onto the air wall and fell onto the ground. Dong Wang Baiji lied on the bar counter and cried bitterly, just like a child. Even 3 years ago, Dong Wang Baiji had never cried like this before. Hearing the crying sound that was coming from downstairs, Yi Hua let out a heavy sigh. I really don't know what I should do. Please help me, I, the Supreme Overlord, am waiting for you. It's very urgent. Inside Wei Chang's rented room, currently, he was drinking the wolfberry ginseng tea that Tang Wei brewed. He felt that his entire body had been warm for the past few days, as if he was going to explode. Moreover, the more he put in the wolfberries, the more he had to drink. He had to drink several cups a day. In Tang Wei's words, this tea was good for the body and could even cure illnesses. Wei Chang was puzzled. He wasn't sick, so why did he need to be treated? But looking at Tang Wei's concerned expression, it seemed as if he had contracted an incurable disease. You too, come over here. I have a mission for you. Wei Chang shouted at the Green and Red brothers. At this time, the Green and Red brothers were also drinking wolfberry tea. This was because all the boiled water in this house had wolfberry in it. They really didn't understand why those old uncles in the village drank it like this. Looking at Wei Chang's age, and then thinking about Tang Wei's age, Wei Chang immediately understood. When one reached middle age, they had no choice. All men understood. The two of them walked over with a smile on their faces. Uncle Wei said that there was a mission. Could it be that the boss was chased out of the house? Or was he going to do some cleaning? Or should he go downstairs to buy groceries? Currently, the Green and Red brothers had already changed their hairstyles. Their hairstyles were 50-50, and they were parted in the middle. It seemed like he had recognized someone as his boss. It had to be said that the Green and Red brothers had become a lot more refreshing after changing to the 50-50 development style. However, their hair was still relatively long. It had already reached their chins. Not to mention that it looked a little artistic. Of course, the color was still the same. He was also wearing a trench coat, which matched with his hair color. He was simply awesome. Wherever he went, he was a beautiful scenery. He could even be a traffic light. Uncle Wei, are we going to buy groceries? I think we should buy some vegetables. Big Brother Green was also a bit irritable. Uncle Wei, I don't have a girlfriend, unlike you, Uncle Wei. Little Brother Red nodded his head earnestly. Uncle Wei, eating these vegetables is really good. It can help to lower one's body temperature. Wei Chang felt that what the two said made sense. That's true. Let's buy some vegetables tonight. Alright, we will definitely complete the mission. The Green and Red brothers stood up and stretched out their hands. Wei Chang picked up the thermos, then waved his hand, and a black whirlpool appeared in the living room. You guys, follow me. The Green and Red brothers took a deep breath, then followed Wei Chang and stepped into the black whirlpool. Big bro, we aren't going to fight across planets, right? I'm not afraid of fighting across planets, but I'm afraid of fighting across galaxies. Walking into the whirlpool, taking a look at the blue sky and white clouds, Little Brother Red pointed at an eagle and shouted, Big bro, quickly look, even the eagle is flying so low. Feeling that something was wrong, Big Brother Green slowly lowered his head, and cold sweat was already dripping out of his body. Little Brother Red followed his big bro's gaze and looked over. The two froze. They were actually standing at a height of a few thousand meters. Wei Chang looked towards the north and said casually, You guys wait here. Uncle Wei, what about our target? The Green and Red brothers held onto each other's hands and asked. The three people that are coming over later will be our target. After finished speaking, Uncle Wei opened the thermos and drank a mouthful of wolfberry tea, then walked into the black whirlpool and disappeared. The Green and Red brothers remained silent for a moment, and their nervous expression gradually became excited. Big bro. We can fly now. That's right, we have become birds. Big Brother Green let out a sigh. A few days ago, I was still starving on the road, and today, I became a Superman, the kind of Superman that kills people. Indeed, looking from the ground, there was a green and a red big bird in the sky. Just as the two brothers were getting excited, 3 black dots flew towards them at high speed. They were precisely Sun Yi and the others who were running for their lives. Big bro. They are here. Little Brother Red suddenly became nervous. I saw them, I am not blind. Big Brother Green was very nervous too. It is fine for me to go and scare people, but to kill people, I am not mentally prepared at all. Looking at the figures getting closer and closer, Little Brother Red suddenly asked, Big bro, in the wuxia movies, everyone has to hold on to their own name. How are we going to report to them? Watch me later. Big Brother Green had already thought of what to do. Little Brother Red became relieved. Big bro is indeed smart and quick-witted. When Sun Yi and the others saw the Green and Red brothers that were not far away from them, they were very puzzled. Alliance Master Hai, are they your people? Guang Tianlu asked. After all, the way those two dressed up was very strange, and they seemed to be people from the Esper world. Hai Dicey shook his head. Although we, the people from the Esper world, are all hidden within the cities, we still have our own identities. Why would we dress up like that? Chapter 229. Guang Tianlu said gravely, we have yet to leave the northern region. Could it be that we are here? The three's expression became grave. Seems like we are in danger, adding on the fact that we are injured, the situation has become even worse. In the blink of an eye, the three arrived in front of the Green and Red brothers. Looking at Sun Yi, the Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva. Why is there a woman here? This woman is so beautiful, wouldn't it be a pity to kill her? Who are you guys? Sun Yi shouted out. Although I am injured, I can't reveal my injuries right now, I have to pretend. Big Brother Green snorted, since you are asking me sincerely, I shall be merciful and tell you. I am Buried Love Family's Green Protector. After finished speaking, he made a very cool pose. Very quickly, Little Brother Red understood and made a pose first, then shouted out, I am Buried Love Family's Red Protector. The three were very puzzled. When did the Buried Love family appear in the south? Why is the name so strange? Furthermore, these two people look very silly. Why are you guys blocking our way? Hi Dicey asked. Just as Big Brother Green was about to speak, a wrench fell out from his windbreaker, and Little Brother Red grabbed onto it reflexively. An awkward atmosphere pervaded the air. The Green and Red brothers were communicating with each other with their eyes. Big Brother, we are assassins, we cannot expose ourselves. I know, but the wrench fell out. Big Brother, just speak some nonsense. We can only do this. Big Brother Green took over the wrench and said with a smile, as a mechanic, it should be normal for me to bring along a wrench, right? Right after he finished speaking, a plastic water pipe fell out from Little Brother Red's windbreaker. Little Brother Red hurriedly caught onto it, and with an unnatural expression, he scratched onto his red hair, as a water and electricity installer, it should be fine for me to bring along a plastic water pipe, right? Sun Yi and the other two's expressions were very strange, they were completely stupefied by the two people in front of them. A wrench and a plastic water pipe, they are probably preparing for a street fight. Suddenly, a kitchen knife fell out from Big Brother Green's windbreaker, and Big Brother Green immediately grabbed onto the kitchen knife. Damn, Big Brother, you even took out a kitchen knife. Big Brother Green glared at his little brother, then explained to the three people, actually, I'm not only a repairman, but also a sharpener. In order to prove his occupation, Big Brother Green coughed lightly, then shouted out. Sharpen scissors, sharpen kitchen knife, especially when he dragged out the last syllable, it made people believe him without a doubt. Big Brother, you're awesome. Everyone at the entrance of the village always calls you that. I didn't expect you to learn it so well. Sun Yi and the other two were greatly shocked, but they were also very angry. They were actually played by these two people. I am the sect leader of Cloud's sect. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Sun Yi shouted. After hearing the other party's name, the Green and Red brothers were a little stunned. Big Brother, Cloud's sect. In the novels, they are all very awesome existences. Big Brother Green rubbed his chin. I heard that many of the protagonists started their counterattacks in the Cloud sect. That's right. What trash, broken engagement, and all sorts of golden fingers. I reckon that this sect master is about to be defeated by the main character. Perhaps the protagonist is currently playing with fire sticks in the woodshed of the Yun sect. Maybe he was slandered by eldest senior brother and is now slapping himself in the face. Maybe he's in junior sister's room, hee, the two of them laughed at each other. Hearing these two people insulting Cloud's sect, Sun Yi was very angry. But after hearing what they said, she realized that there was indeed a disciple in Cloud's sect who was very outstanding and had caused quite a lot of big things recently. How dare you talk behind my Cloud sect's back? Watch my sword. Sun Yi condensed a sharp sword, and with a sharp killing intent, she attacked. Facing the incoming sword, Green and Red brothers went into a daze, especially Little Brother Red. Little Brother Red immediately closed his eyes, not daring to look at the incoming sword. Stretching out both of his hands, Little Brother Red had an expression that seemed to be saying, "Don't hit me." Ding, a light sound rang out in Little Brother Red's ears. Feeling that his palm was a bit itchy, Little Brother Red slowly opened his eyes. He saw the tip of the sword stabbing into his palm, but it did not pierce through. What was going on? Fake sword? Little brother Red pinched onto the tip of the sword. Caw! The clear and melodious sound gave little brother Red a fright. The entire sharp sword could be seen breaking apart from the tip of the sword, and in the end, only the sword hilt in Sun Yi's hand remained. Everyone fell silent, even Big Brother Green was stupefied. Little brother, how did you do it? Big Brother Green asked curiously. I don't know, I just touched it. Then I'll give it a try too. After saying that, Big Brother Green moved towards Sun Yi's body. Little brother Red shouted out loudly, You're so lowly. What I'm touching is the sword, yet you're touching a person. Sun Yi came back to her senses, and her eyes focused. Her left hand turned into a palm, and a surge of spiritual energy erupted from the center of her palm. The large and small palms collided. Pa! Sun Yi was directly sent flying, and a large amount of blood spurted out of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu were both stupefied. That red hair touched the sword, and the sword shattered. That green hair didn't seem to use much strength, but he actually sent Sun Yi flying. Big brother. If you continue like this, you will be single for the rest of your life. Little brother Red cried out in surprise. To think that you are actually willing to lay your hands on such a beauty. Big Brother Green didn't expect himself to be so powerful. He laughed and said, It's all right, Big Brother still has you. Big Brother, I don't like this kind of stuff. Guang Tianlu drew out 3 cards and snorted coldly. Don't be arrogant. Little Brother Red cried out in surprise, Card. His figure instantly disappeared, and when he returned, he held 3 cards in his hand. Big brother, don't you like playing cards? What exactly are these 3 cards? Dizzy or Mana Sucked? Big Brother Green raised his hand and slapped, What are you doing? We are killing people, and the enemy is currently attacking us. You have already snatched the enemy's weapon, what are they still fighting for? Quickly return the cards to him. You have no morals. Little Brother Red scratched onto his head and said with grievance, I am just curious about what functions these cards have. Guang Tianlu and Hai Daisy were stupefied, especially Guang Tianlu. My summoning cards are actually held onto by him. Bullsh *T. Even Xiao Yi doesn't dare to receive my summoning cards, and yet this red hair actually received my summoning cards. Impossible. This is definitely impossible. They must have cheated. Pft. 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 Guang Tianlu's eyeballs were about to pop out as he slowly lowered his head, only to see that his 3 summoning cards had pierced into his body. Ah! Big brother, I didn't do it on purpose, I thought that he would dodge. Little brother Red panicked and was at a loss of what to do. Big Brother Green hurriedly consoled his little brother, This isn't your fault, he didn't dodge on his own. Really? Really? Then I can be at ease. Little Brother Red patted onto his chest. A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Guang Tianlu's mouth. To actually say that I didn't dodge on my own. I need to have some time to react too. Upon seeing that, Hai Daisy knew that things have gone south. The 2 of us are going to be crippled in an instant, we have to quickly run away. Big brother, that one-armed hero ran away. Little Brother Red shouted out loudly. Big Brother Green could be seen taking out a spatula from his windbreaker. Chapter 230. Didn't you bring the frying pan with you? Big Brother Green looked at the butt of his little brother. It was obvious that there was a frying pan there. Looking at Hai Daisy who was running away, Big Brother Green aimed at his target and threw the spatula in his hand. A muffled sound came from afar, and a black shadow fell from the sky. Big Brother Green heaved a sigh of relief, It's done. But they didn't die. Little Brother Red said worriedly. Big Brother Green thought for a moment, then said, Put the 3 of them down first, we'll think of a way. Little Brother Red nodded his head, then gathered the 3 injured people together and went to the depths of the forest. The green and red brothers frowned as they looked at the three people lying on the ground, not knowing what to do. At this moment, the three of them were very weak, but they were not dead. The spiritual energy in their bodies was slowly healing their wounds. Big brother, what should we do? Little brother red asked anxiously. Big brother green patted his little brother's shoulder and said, at this time, you need courage. Big brother's courage is already enough. You go and finish them off, then we can go back to eat. When Sun Yi and the other two heard the conversation between the two, their expressions instantly sank. It would be hard for them to escape death today. If you want to kill us, then kill us. Give us a quick death. However, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. Although Guang Tianlu was weak, he was still full of energy, which meant that he wouldn't die anytime soon. Sun Yi, on the other hand, was different. She was a woman and had an advantage. Little brothers, if you can let me go, I can satisfy all your requests. After saying that, Sun Yi revealed a bashful look. This made the green and red brothers very excited, and they subconsciously showed respect to her. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu both cursed at how shameless he was. This was probably how he became the sect master. Big brother, I can't bear to lay my hands on such a beautiful woman. I'll leave her to you, big brother. With that said, he turned around and closed his eyes, covering his ears. Big brother green was quite ferocious when killing chickens. He could chop off a chicken's head with one slash. But killing people, Sun Yi seemed to have seen the hope of survival and hurriedly said, little big brother, don't worry. I'll live well. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu's faces were filled with disdain. I know you are living well, don't speak. Big brother green shouted. This woman was so coquettish, she was actually showing off that she was living well. Who the F***ck didn't have a good life? I've been basking in the sun for 5 billion years. Have I ever shown off? One had to keep a low profile. Sun Yi felt a little dizzy. It seemed that this was still a boy, not a man. Hai Daisy and Guang Tianlu actually laughed out loud. Who asked you to act coquettishly? Other people wouldn't fall for your act at all. The green and red brothers squatted on the side and quietly discussed how to deal with it. Little brother, big brother usually treats you well, right? That's right. He often borrows money and doesn't return it. That's because big brother doesn't want to see you get sick. That's why he did this. You have to understand big brother's good intentions. Big brother, I know what you want to say. I'm scared. Big brother green sighed, I'm scared too, especially when I slash down with my blade. Their eyeballs will bulge out, it's very terrifying. That's right, we should have let them die easily. Little brother red said regretfully as he placed his palms together. You're right. After all, we're all good people. Little brother red nodded his head, agreeing with what his big brother said. Then, how can we let them die easily and painlessly? I heard that euthanasia is the best. It's a pity we don't have it. The second best would be to let blood out. I heard that it's not very painful. If you let it out, people will faint and then die. This is a good idea, let's let blood out. Big brother green took out a kitchen knife and walked over. You two can be at ease, I will let you two die peacefully. Big brother, I beg of you, I have a lot of money and a lot of treasures. Sun Yi didn't want to die. I just became the sect master, I don't want to die just like this. Big brother green sighed, if you want to blame something, blame yourself for provoking someone you shouldn't have provoked. The three of them were startled. Could it be Xiao Yi? Impossible, if Xiao Yi had such a strong subordinate, he would have used him long ago, then who could it be? Hai Daisy asked hurriedly, Big brother, you guys couldn't have gotten the wrong person, right? Little brother, we didn't get the wrong person, right? Big brother green asked. I don't know either. Little brother red shook his head. The three of them were about to collapse. You guys didn't even get a clear picture of the person before killing him, is this really good? At the very least, confirm the target. Big brother green could be seen holding onto Hai Daisy's other hand and said faintly, if there are 3 of you, then I wouldn't be wrong. We are killing based on the number of people, not based on their appearance. Little brother Red added. The 3 of them were truly in despair. Who is killing based on the number of people? Sunny asked, what if there were only 2 of us that appeared just now? Oh, then it wouldn't be you guys. Little brother Red revealed out an expression of, you are an idiot, to actually ask such a childish question. The 3 of them let out a breath at the same time. Why didn't we split up and go back just now? Bear with it. Big Brother Green warned concernedly. Soon after, the main artery on Big Brother Green's wrist was cut, and blood sprayed out like a fountain. Next was Guang Tian Road, and last was Sun Yi. Sect Master, it is a bit painful, just bear with it and it will be over soon. Big Brother Green touched onto Sun Yi's smooth little hand. It really hurts, so white, so tender. Just kill me. I don't dare to. Blood spilled out from the corner of Sun Yi's mouth. She was angered to the point that if she was able to move, she would have already committed suicide. To avoid being toyed with by them. Green and Red brothers immediately ran away and waited, looking as if they had just set off firecrackers. Big brother, how long are we waiting for? Little brother Red was very nervous. Around 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, go and see if they are dead or not. Little brother Green shouted out. Little brother Red took a deep breath, then stood up and went to take a look. Soon after, he shouted out, Big brother, they are not dead yet. What? Big Brother Green hurriedly ran over. As expected, they are not dead yet. Just kill me. Just kill me, the 3 were begging for death right now. This kind of bloodletting was nothing more than the cruelest torture. The spiritual energy in one's body was able to coagulate blood, and thus, while the blood was being coagulated, they would not die immediately. What people were afraid of was not death, but rather, they were afraid of waiting for death. Even though they knew that they were going to die soon, that kind of waiting was the cruelest and most painful torture. Big brother, what should we do? Little brother Red was very flustered. How would I know? Big Brother Green was very vexed too. Suddenly, a black whirlpool appeared, and Wei Chang appeared while holding onto a thermos cup. Uncle Wei. Uncle Wei. The 3 looked at Wei Chang. I don't know him. Meanwhile, when Wei Chang saw the 3's state, he went into a daze for a moment, then said happily. You guys did well, this kind of bloodletting method is indeed cruel and inhumane. I will report this matter to the boss will reward you guys. Green and Red brothers had a blank look on their faces. Is bloodletting inhumane? It's not like we are killing people. However, when Sun Yi and the other 2 heard what Wei Chang said, they were startled. Those 2 are subordinates, and the person who just came out is also a subordinate. If that is the case, then who is our boss? Chapter 231. Quickly deal with it, your sister-in-law has already bought the food and is waiting for you guys to eat. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared. The Green and Red brothers let out a breath and looked at the 3 people. Big brother, how about we cut another artery, that way, it might be faster. Good idea. Right now, the 3 people couldn't even scold out even if they wanted to, they are simply inhumane. To actually abuse you guys like this, I curse you guys to die a horrible death. 10 minutes later, the Green and Red brothers returned to the rented house. Looking at the 2 people who appeared, Tang Wei said with a slight smile, you guys are not used to it, right? I was the same at the start as well, I just got used to killing and killing. Now that I think about it, I still feel a bit excited. The Green and Red brothers took a look at each other, and an evil smile appeared on the corner of their mouth. Thinking back to the scene just now, it was indeed very violent and exciting. Alright, don't just stand there, come over and eat. Thank you, sister-in-law. Thank you, sister-in-law. Wei Chang walked out from the bedroom and asked curiously, where did you guys throw the corpses to? Isn't it very conspicuous? Little brother, you tell them. Big Brother Green poked his little brother. Little brother Red was a bit embarrassed as he said hesitantly, "We left the corpses at the funeral parlor." Wei Chang, Tang Wei. Immediately, Wei Chang's angry scolding could be heard. The Green and Red brothers didn't even eat and immediately went to deal with the corpses. After the two left, Tang Wei smiled and said, "They are still newbies, Uncle Wei, don't be angry. I am afraid that his honor will blame us." Wei Chang laughed bitterly. Tang Wei laughed lightly, then said faintly, "Uncle Wei, our money is almost gone, we still have to feed them. Xiao Tang, you can be at ease, Uncle Wei won't let you suffer." "Uncle Wei, I am not afraid of suffering, I am just afraid that you won't be able to keep up with your nutrition, and your illness won't be cured." Wei Chang was puzzled, then asked, "Xiao Tang, just what illness do I have?" "Uncle Wei, it's fine as long as you know, there is no need to ask." "How would I know?" All right, you aren't sick, right? Quickly come over and eat." Wei Chang was very helpless. "As for the problem of money, I can only look for Death Mage. I hope that my little brother can have some money to deal with this emergency." Death Mage expressed that he would immediately deliver the money to Yi Hua. "I forgot to bribe the betrothal gifts that I had snatched last time." Right now, Yi Hua was also distressed about money. "Qinya is too ruthless, she isn't even giving me a single cent. Of course, I won't ask her for money. I can only look for my subordinates to get me some money to deal with this emergency. However, I have to express it in a more subtle way. I can't let them see that my money is being controlled. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have given that 50 billion to Qinya." Irritated, depressed. "Your Honor." At this time, Wei Chang suddenly sent a voice transmission. Yi Hua stood on the balcony of his office and smoked while looking at the hot pot restaurant that was not far away from him. What happened? Death Mage has something to offer to his honor. Yi Hua's eyes shone. Bring him to Leisure Bar's storage room. Yes. Yi Hua went downstairs and arrived at the storage room on the first floor. Wei Chang could be seen bringing along Death Mage and Sun Fang. The three kneeled down respectfully and shouted out at the same time, "Subordinate pays respect to your honor." Yi Hua swept his gaze across everyone and shouted out with a deep voice, "All of you, get up." "Thank you, your honor." Looking at the mahogany chest at the side, Yi Hua asked faintly, "What's inside?" Death Mage hurriedly said, "Your honor, these are all small things that subordinate made, I hope that your honor will accept them." Yi Hua slowly walked over and opened up the mahogany chest. A golden light immediately lit up the entire room. When Yi Hua opened up the chest, he saw that the chest was filled with jewelry and a white fan. "Your honor, this is an ancient godly item, God Leaf Fan." Sun Fang added. Yi Hua casually threw the fan into the chest and said faintly, "I don't need these things." Death Mage and Sun Fang's heart sunk. "But, seeing that you two have put in so much effort, I will reluctantly accept them." Death Mage and Sun Fang became joyous and hurriedly kowtowed to Yi Hua. Yi Hua let out a breath. "Luckily, they didn't see that I am bankrupt. This is simply timely rain. This little skeleton is not bad. I didn't waste the marriage that I gave him." "What movements did Ing family make recently?" Yi Hua asked. Death Mage didn't reply. After all, his honor wanted Sun Fang to monitor Ing family's every movement. Replying to your honor, Ing family sent someone over to Voidless Realm to negotiate. Sun Fang was a lot more obedient in front of Yi Hua, she didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. "What is Voidless Realm?" Sun Fang replied, "Voidless Realm is one of the big powers in the north." "Oh, is that so? Let them negotiate then, it would be best if the negotiation fails." Yi Hua said faintly. "The more ruthless they fight, the happier I will be." "Wei Chang, how did the Green and Red brothers perform today?" Wei Chang replied respectfully, "The Green and Red brothers' performance was out of my expectations. Their killing methods were incomparably ruthless, and their methods were extremely frightening." "That's good, I like this kind of people." "After those three people died, is there any reaction from the south?" The three people didn't speak, seemingly, they didn't keep up with the intelligence. Yi Hua immediately wrinkled his brows. The three people immediately knelt onto the ground. Subordinates have failed in their duties. Intelligence must keep up with the tempo. I don't want to be the last one to know. Yi Hua said coldly. In the past, I didn't know the importance of intelligence, but now, I know. Yes. The three people shouted out in unison. After scolding their subordinates, they still had to ask about their subordinates' private matters to show their concern. Sun Fang. Yi Hua called out. Subordinate is here. Yi Hua asked faintly, how are you getting along with my little skeleton? Sun Fang's beautiful face immediately became bright red. Subordinate. Seems like this little skeleton didn't manage to do it. Wei Chang, kill it. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Wei Chang nodded his head, yes. Death Mage was stupefied. Not only was Death Mage stupefied, Sun Fang was also stupefied. Your Honor. Sun Fang immediately knelt onto the ground and shouted out hurriedly. Yi Hua said gravely, Sun Fang, since you have joined my team, you should be clear of my rules. My team doesn't need useless people, and towards useless people, I will only kill them. Death Mage and Sun Fang never expected that things would turn out like this. Originally, they were here to send gifts, but they didn't expect that they would send a disaster instead. Little skeleton didn't manage to meet my requirements, and thus, he naturally won't be able to escape death. Wei Chang, he is your subordinate, you go ahead and kill him. Yi Hua said faintly, not showing any signs of letting go. Towards Yi Hua's orders, Wei Chang would only obey and not go against it. Looking at Death Mage, Wei Chang said faintly, do you two have anything else to say? Your Honor. He didn't do anything wrong. Sun Fang hurriedly begged, completely unaware of how much she wanted Death Mage to die back then. Towards Sun Fang's begging, Yi Hua didn't pay attention to it. Death Mage put down his weapon and untied his black cloak, revealing his skeletal body. Lightly placing his hand onto Sun Fang's shoulder, Yi Hua told her not to anger his honor, if not, two of them would die. Chapter 232. Quickly kneel down and beg his honor, what are you standing there foolishly for? Looking at Death Mage, Sun Fang shouted out while choking with sobs. Death Mage took out his phone and typed a few words. Sun Fang, your wish is about to come true. Looking at these words, Sun Fang's tears finally fell. That's right, my wish is going to be realized, but why don't I want to realize it anymore? Without this adorable skeleton, who am I going to bully in the future? Who am I going to play games with in the future? For the sake of topping up money, I won't be able to see the scene of the skeleton emitting smoke anymore. Sun Fang let out a sigh, then kneeled in front of Yi Hua and said, Your Honor, subordinate's wish is to kill Death Mage, then kill myself afterward. Thank you, Your Honor, for helping Sun Fang take revenge, but please, Your Honor, after you take care of Death Mage, you can also take care of Sun Fang. Death Mage didn't even have time to type, and he let out a GGG sound, royal translation, you're such an idiot. You actually want to die. Yi Hua looked at Sun Fang who was kneeling on the ground, and he seemed to be deep in thought. In actuality, I can spare its life, but are you willing to die in its place? Yi Hua asked. Sun Fang turned her head around and took a look at Death Mage, then said gravely, Sun Fang didn't want to live any longer. To be able to die in the hands of someone as powerful as Your Honor, Sun Fang feels that it is worth it. Fuck, his underling's underling used a skeleton body to pick up such a beautiful woman, and this woman actually dared to die for it. I, the Supreme Overlord, am so handsome, and yet, those two women still want to die with me. If I were to reveal my true body, wouldn't I have no choice but to go and commit suicide? We are both skeletons, but why are you so outstanding? That's good. This sovereign will fulfill your wish. Yi Hua slowly raised his hand, and a lump of golden flames emerged from his hand. Death Mage could be seen not caring about anything else as he immediately rushed forward and used his bones to protect Sun Fang. Your Honor, forgive subordinate for being rude. If Your Honor wants to kill someone, then go ahead and kill subordinate. Looking at Death Mage and Sun Fang, Yihua suddenly thought of an idea. I have never met with any difficulties before. If there comes a day when I am unable to hold on and am about to die, would they be like this? Yihua expressed his curiosity. After keeping the flames, Yihua said faintly, "All right, I was just joking, look at how nervous the two of you are." A joke? You don't look like you're joking. Death Mage and Sun Fang were both stupefied, and Sun Fang's face turned red as she hurriedly pushed Death Mage away. Your Honor. Sun Fang's face was about to drip blood. His honor is so powerful, but I didn't expect that he would actually be so mischievous, to actually allow me and a skeleton to poke a hole in a piece of paper. Yihua said with a slight smile, Sun Fang, if you like him, then you like him. There is nothing wrong with that. Although he is of a different race, it doesn't matter. Your Honor. Sun Fang felt that she was going to dig a hole in the ground. Death Mage was overjoyed. This woman even said that she doesn't like me, and she is even willing to die for me. I am so touched, as expected of the ugly woman that I like. Yihua put away his smile and said calmly, Sun Fang, if you want to give birth to a child, I will bestow a body to it. I, the Supreme Overlord, can help you with this matter. Your Honor, I don't want to have a child with it. Sun Fang said shyly. Today, His Honor actually managed to see through my inner thoughts. When I return, I will definitely be laughed at by the skeletons. Alright, I agree to your request. Actually, not having children is also good. Death Mage and Sun Fang were both stupefied. His Honor isn't taking the normal path. What he expressed just now was shyness. Who would talk about giving birth to a child at this time? Yihua waved his hand, the two of you can leave for now. From today onwards, you have to pay attention to the intelligence gathering. Yes. Yes. Death Mage brought Sun Fang and left. Seems like after returning to Ying family, the two of them are going to bicker with each other again. Wei Chang revealed out a respectful smile. Your Honor truly sympathizes with subordinate, personally helping subordinate pull the strings of marriage, and even helping to break the gap between them. Subordinate is truly convinced by Your Honor. Sun Fang is a good woman, and similarly, she is also a good subordinate. Put her in an important position in the future. Subordinate understands. Alright, you can go back and accompany your Xiao Tang. I still have things to do. Yes. After Wei Chang left, Yihua opened up the mahogany box again and muttered, Qinya, you didn't expect this, right? I have a lot of money. But, how am I supposed to exchange the gold for money? Sell it for money? So troublesome. If I had known that this would happen, I would have asked them to exchange the gold for money. Forget it, everyone would know that I don't have any money. Yihua opened the door and walked out. Upon seeing that Dong Huang Baiji was currently lying on the bar counter and sleeping, Yihua sighed. Even Sun Fang is willing to die for Death Mage, and yet, my own woman wishes for me to die. This is the difference between us, motherfucker. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have done what I did just now. I might as well order all of them to break up with each other. Before I settle the matter, I am not allowed to reconcile with each other. When Yihua arrived at the bedroom, he saw that the two beauties on the bed were actually not sleeping and were chatting with each other. When Qinya saw Yihua, the smile on her face immediately changed. When Dong Wangli saw Yihua, she shouted out with a smile, Daddy. Yihua carried his daughter who was lying on the bed and said with a smile, What are Ali and Aunt Qing talking about? Daddy, Ali and Aunt Qing are making a pinky promise. You can't tell others about it. If not, Ali will become a person who goes back on her words. Mommy often tells Ali that one must be honest and not lie to others. Hearing what Ali said, Dong Huang Baiji was definitely talking about me. Qinya, who was lying on the bed, snorted. Ali is a big liar. Pinching onto his daughter's little nose, Yihua said faintly, Daddy, can you teach Ali a powerful technique? Papa, really? Of course it's true, why would Daddy lie to little Ali? That's great, Ali wants to learn it. After the father and daughter left, Qinya got off the bed and decided to go and have a chat with Dong Huang Baiji. Yihua brought his daughter to his office and sat on the boss's chair. Dong Huangli stood on her father's lap with a face full of expectation. Yihua stretched out his index finger. Puff! A purple flame appeared on the tip of his finger, and it looked very beautiful. Dong Huangli was attracted by the flame in Yihua's eyes. Daddy, this purple flame is so beautiful, so beautiful. Ali, this is Sky Ghost Fire, one of the most powerful flames in history. It is capable of burning souls. Do you want to learn it? Yihua said with a smile. Li wants to learn it, but Ali is afraid that I won't be able to learn it and will disappoint Daddy. Dong Huangli's little mouth crooked. Silly child, there is no need to be afraid of failure. Giving up on failure is what is scary. Yihua taught Ali attentively. I haven't been by Ali's side for more than 2 years, and I didn't expect that Ali's mentality would be so bad. How is that Dong Huang Baiji a mother? Dong Huangli pondered, then said seriously, Daddy, Ali understands. Ali will bravely try it. Daddy's good daughter, Ali, try it. As Yihua's bloodline, Dong Huangli inherited all of Yihua's innate skills, just that, she had yet to awaken them. Just like a character in a game, the character would have all of the skills, but the character would only be level 1, and would have to slowly unlock the skills. Dong Huangli imitated her father, stretched out her little index finger and looked at it earnestly. After a long while, not even a single spark appeared on the index finger. Ali became anxious, but she didn't want to disappoint her father. Thus, stubbornness could be seen on her little face. You're tuning into the A Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.